Making every sale the way you want, and the way they want, too. Switch to one system, connecting every tool to every task, even as your business grows. Gain time and peace of mind with tools that bring everything together. Switch to Square today. Visit square.com to get started.
When you step into a Warby Parker store, you're immediately met by, well, glasses. But there's more than meets the eye, like contact lenses, top-notch eye exams, expert opticians, and affordable prices. Visit one of our hundreds of stores around the country.
Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on a rainy Thursday. It's August 8th. It's 2024. Michael and Don with you until 6:30.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff to do. We're going to talk to Marty Lyons at 3:30. No longer the Jets analyst on radio after 22 years, and he is moving into kind of an ambassadorship role with the Jets, and we'll talk to Marty about that. But, Don, first things first, how did Solo Don go?
I enjoyed it. I mean, you'd have to ask other people what they thought about it, but we touched on a lot of subjects. I had a lot of fun doing it. Thanks to Jacob and Tom for all their help during the course of the show. I thought it went very well, but you'd have to ask management. They're the ones that are anti-Solo Don, so we just had a meeting with one of the pinhead suits. He didn't say anything negative, so...
Yeah, but he didn't say anything positive either, and that to me was very strange.
It's telling, but at the same time, this is a business, Michael, where no news is good news. So if there was something he had to say, he would have said it. So
really? All right.
Well, why would he hold back?
Because what I found out in all my years in this business, people that run things are phonies, and usually bad guys. I'm not saying our pinhead suit is, but mostly when you find a good leader that tells you the truth and looks you right in the eye, I think that's the anomaly. It's not the norm.
Well, you know what?
I've been lucky in my career. I've got a lot of good bosses.
You know, there's a handful of people where I care about their opinion. Management is not one. So as long as I'm happy with it, and I'm happy, and the people that work directly, like Jacob and Tom, I mean, if you guys had a fun time and enjoyed it, I got a good reaction from the listeners, I'm good. I appreciate any feedback, but...
Jacob and Tom, during the first game of the doubleheader, would text me and go, please, get the tarp on and come back and save us.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, you know, I felt good about it. So, Tom, Jacob, sorry. That's a tough break for you, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Wow. I'm sorry I had to out you guys, but I feel that the truth is always a powerful weapon. I'm a big Solo Don proponent. Big.
You have been, and I appreciate that.
One thing I don't like, Don.
What's that?
Is, without Anthony in the driver's seat, every day I've had a hard time hooking up to my Zoom. Every single day.
I don't know why we can't just have universal Zoom. Everybody's got to have their own Zoom. And I'm Zoomless right now, still waiting for a text, so it's a mess.
No, here's another one. Let's see if... Oh, this one looks like it could work. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Love it. Love it. The Mets won a game yesterday that I wouldn't say was a must-win, but it was important. You got to beat the Rockies, and I thought you said it very well yesterday. And these are Diamond Notes, by the way, brought to you by London Jewelers and driven to you by Nissan. You can't expect to win every single game against bad teams. You just can't, because even the 1962 Mets, they won 40 games, so they did beat people. And in baseball, you can beat somebody. A pitcher could have a great day, and hitters could have a bad day. But in these series, Don, you got to take 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
So the Mets are starting their game with the Rockies right now. The third game, you got to win this one. And the Yankees have a game tonight against the Angels after splitting a doubleheader. You got to win this one. Now, in a perfect world, do you win all of these games against subpar teams? Yes. But as we know, Donald, not a perfect world, not close to a perfect world, and it's hard to sweep these series. But you got to take them. You can't lose them. And that's why I got nervous with the Mets losing 2 out of 3 against the Angels last weekend.
Right, and then they bounce back, beat the Cardinals, then lose to the Rockies, which means you had to win now 2 in a row to be able to win this series. They took care of business, but it was dicey, Michael. It's 2-2 in the 8th inning.
Yep.
And that would have been a really difficult game to lose, but Lindor comes up big, and that's the guy that carried them when they got hot. And
a big hit by Alvarez. That triple was huge.
That was a huge hit. And, so the starting pitching and the bullpen's been good. The offense has still kind of gone south here. Should be scoring more runs than they have in Colorado, but they got the big hit. What, they get 11 hits yesterday, 10 of them singles. So that's not usually the way you win at Coors Field, but it worked. And now they got an afternoon game today. And then you see what you can get against Seattle, because right now the Diamondbacks, it's like scorched earth. They took care of the Guardians like they were standing still. And the Padres, they're taking care of business as well.
Did you see who's dropping back down to earth?
The Atlanta Braves are getting smoked again today, 14-3. They've already lost 4 in a row. This would be 5 straight. So we mentioned it yesterday, Michael. Their best avenue is if the Braves are in free fall, and it's starting to look like the Braves are. The injuries have caught up with them. The Mets do have a series with the Braves coming up here, so they can take care of their own business. But with the Arizona Diamondbacks playing the way they're playing, and with the Padres being a team that's 11 games above 500 and playing well, although they are losing right now in Pittsburgh 5-4.
And Pittsburgh's right behind you, too.
Yeah, but again...
it's 3.5 back.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're the Mets, you don't worry so much about the teams that are behind you. The Cardinals, the Giants, who are winning at last check, the Pirates.
And the Cubs.
You worry about the teams that you've got to try to get to. And the Braves right now are a team that you could pass, and they're on their way to their 5th consecutive loss. So at this point, Michael, would it be nice to get the first wild card? Of course. But right now, the way things were going, you just want to make sure you get in.
And if you're the Mets and you take care of business today, and then you take care of business in Seattle, and that's going to be tough because Seattle has great, not good, they have great starting pitching. Then you got a little bit of a respite. You got bad teams at home. You have 3 against the A's and 3 against the Marlins. And listen, if you want to do damage, okay, you got to take 5 of those 6 or 4 of the 6, and then you move on to that next West Coast swing, which is going to be a killer. Could be a killer again, but those are the teams in front of you. Now, I don't mean to put you on the spot because I don't know the answer. How many games do the Mets have left with the Braves?
I think at least the 3. I think it's just the 3.
Just 3.
I'll double check that because I know they played a lot earlier in the season, and you only play 13 now against divisional opponents, right?
Yeah.
So I will get that for you when the games are going to be played. Like I mentioned, they got a series with the. I have it right in front of me here. Rockies, Baltimore, San Diego, Arizona. Yeah, just those 3 with the Braves in Atlanta, the 24th, 25th, and 26th of September. That is
wow.
it.
Can you imagine if it comes down to that?
It could. But the way they're playing right now, maybe it won't matter because I don't know. The Braves going to get any of these guys back?
Well, they're not getting back the injured pitchers they need the most, and they're not getting back Acuna.
No.
They will get back Albies.
Yeah. So, and I still think they were surviving for a while, just kind of caught up with them. Maybe they're just going through. All these teams go through it. Like the Yankees went through it, where you just have a bad month and things just don't come together. Is that what's happening to the Braves, or are the injuries caught up and they're going to free fall here? But they're getting smoked at home by Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee's a good team, but the Braves have to feel, even with their injuries, they're every bit as good as the Brewers are. But it's not working out, so we'll see if the Mets can take care of business. And once they get home, they're in good shape.
If this holds up, Don, and the Braves lose this game, looks like they will, and the Mets win, then the Mets are in the wild card.
Yes.
Because they're just a half game behind Atlanta. So it's been a free fall for Atlanta, but you expect there would be some sort of market correction. We'll see. Now, for the Yankees, rainouts do not come without some ramification. You could say, well, you know what? It helps you rest. It gives you guys another day off, 2 days off in a row. but there's a negative to it as well. If the Yankees had played on Tuesday, then Luis Hill pitches on Tuesday, and then Nestor Cortez pitches yesterday, and then Marcus Stroman would pitch today. But once you have Hill get rained out and he has to start the first game of the doubleheader, he can't pitch Sunday because that would be on short rest. And you don't want to do that with him. So you have to add another pitcher to the mix. Now, where you want to put that pitcher, that's anybody's guess. Could have been on Sunday if you wanted to do that. They decided to have the second game of the doubleheader. They started Will Warren. So they won the first game by a score of 5-2, 5 shutout innings for Hill, and then Will Warren got spanked. Gave up a grand slam to Zach Neto. They gave up 6 runs in the second inning. Never looked back. They lost the second game 8-2. And what that does is it speaks volumes about the fact that, you know, the trade for Soto, which they had to make, right? They had to make that trade. But you gave up all of your pitching depth. So there's really nobody to go to when you have that rain out and you have to add a starter. And although Will Warren pitched okay in Philly, it wasn't great. He pitched okay. And they don't have any starter to go to. It's Will Warren. Chase Hampton's always hurt. Cody Poteet has been injured now for 4 months. So there's not that sixth starter, Don. I guess they could have gone with a bullpen game, but that's always risky, too, because then you got a lot of games in a row toward the end of the week. So at some point, you had to go to the extra starter. And the Yankees, because they traded away, all their depth. Michael King, how valuable would Michael King be? But, you know, that's a deal that you make 100 times out of 100 times to get Juan Soto, because Soto's been so great. But, Don, once they have to dig into their pitching depth, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. And they go to Will Warren, who they think has a pretty good future, but right now his future's not now. He's still refining his stuff, and he got hammered. So they lost a game that, again, you don't want to lose games against teams like the Angels, and that's exactly what happened. So that was the costly part of that rainout.
Yeah, but that's going to happen. It's difficult to sweep doubleheaders, and as you just outlined, you know, the situation with the pitching, he saved your bacon when Cole couldn't make that start last week, and he got lit up. That's going to happen. I think the Yankees are still fine. They're tied for first place. You know, Baltimore had their chance to run away with it, didn't do it. You know, Yankees have the underbelly of their schedule. Angels tonight, then Texas comes in. They're reeling. They thought they still had a chance to do something. They're still losing. And
it's funny, Don, if you look at the standings, they still have a chance.
They still have a chance.
The West is awful.
Listen, baseball's awful, Michael. I mean, that's what I keep trying to tell Yankee fans. As bad as the Yankees have been at times, look at the great shape that you're in. I mean, who's really a team? I'm sorry. I had a caller that felt like I was disrespecting the Central Division. I am. I don't believe in any of those teams in the American League Central. I don't at all. The Guardians could finish with the best record in baseball. They're not going anywhere.
And they just got swept, and now the Twins are breathing down their neck.
Yes, and listen, nobody's scared of the Twins. Sorry. Nobody is scared of the Twins. So I don't think anybody you have to worry about in the Central. In the West, the same thing. And Seattle's never done anything in a big spot. All right, Texas won the World Series last year, but they're still struggling. They went for it at the deadline. They didn't sell, and yet they're still a team that, you know, is what, does 7 games under 500? You know, so you are where you are. At that point, the Angels are terrible, and so you've got to worry about Baltimore. And Baltimore blew their opportunity to really widen their lead. Red Sox are a nice team, a surprise team, but I don't think any kind of legitimate threat here. So I look at the American League, Michael. It's for the Yankees taking. It really is. So, yeah, there's going to be moments here or there, but overall, really, if you really look at it, Michael, who is a legit threat? Houston, because of the history, they may not even make the playoffs.
Yankees and the Orioles. Those are the 2 best teams in the league. One of them is going to finish first. One's going to be the first wild card. That's the way it breaks down. A team to look out for, a good team, is the Royals. If it wasn't for Aaron Judge having the year that he's having, Bobby Witt Jr. would be the MVP in the league.
I think you're right.
I mean, this guy's one of the great players in Major League Baseball playing in Kansas City, and they were smart, and there's a message to all teams. They signed him early to a long-term deal, so they have to worry about him hitting the market and making $50 million a year. They signed him to what was, you know, it's big money for a second-year guy, but, you know, he's going to be a bargain. He's going to be a bargain. He's probably going to regret signing that contract, but the Royals, right now, if the season ended, they'd be in the playoffs. So that's a team to be concerned about. The Red Sox continue to play well. So they're a threat because their pitching is good. But the two best teams in the league are the Yankees and the Orioles. So let's see who ends up on top.
And here for all of the Yankees' problems, for all the issues that they had, there they are in a flat-footed tie with Baltimore. And I still like their chances going the rest of the way. The deadline was good to the Yankees. And I think that they're making the playoffs, Michael. I mean, if you want to sit there and debate me that the Orioles can still win the division, of course they still can. But that itch that Yankee fans had that maybe you don't make the playoffs, I think that's been scratched, right?
No,
you're in the playoffs.
I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, they're going to make the playoffs. And as far as once you get there, listen, the Astros, I think they'll still make the playoffs, but we don't know. I mean, they've been up and down all year. They certainly don't feel like the same team in recent years. I mean, their record is what it is. They're 4 games above 500. They could win the division. They could fall completely out of it.
Can I give you a little stat on Judge?
Please.
Last 10 games, Don, he has reached base safely 33 times.
Yeah.
That's 3.3 times per game. You know the last time that happened?
Bonds?
1939,
Well,
Joe
Bonds.
DiMaggio.
That's incredible. And how many walks?
It's a lot. I mean, he reached 6 of 9 times to the plate yesterday, and I think there were 3 walks in there, 1 intentional. Again, 2 outs, nobody on. So he's had 5 intentional walks in the last 4 games.
And that first inning, Michael, runner at third, the count went full, but the walk pitch was way out of the strike. So I don't.
Right.
Even the times they pitch to him, it's so careful that these intentional walks or whatever that they pile up too.
Well, that right there, that fine little segment you just listened to, that's Diamond Notes, brought to you by London Jewelers. Visit London Jewelers today at any of their 7 locations, including the Americana Mall and the mall at Short Hills. And driven by Nissan, you deserve a car that thrills you, and Nissan's got an exciting full line that'll put goosebumps on your goosebumps. Experience the thrill for yourself. Shop your local Nissan store and NissanUSA.com today.
And looking good for the Mets, already 2-0. Iglesias with an RBI double. Martinez with an RBI double. Lindor got it all started with a double. So Mets in good shape, top of the first inning in Colorado.
Now, we got football tonight, Donnie.
Yes, Giants-Lions, yeah.
Giants-Lions, but no Neighbors and no Jones.
No
Again, I'll tell you one thing, and I almost say it with admiration. The NFL could do whatever it wants, and there's no ramifications. Like, if they put dog poop on the field today and said, this is a game, you know what? People would show up and bet on it. It's amazing. It is a phenomenon that it's hard to explain. This country loves football, and you have people that are paying to go see this game tonight. And Don, the quarterback's not starting, and the top receiver, the number 1 draft pick, is not starting. And is anybody even blinking? Is anybody even complaining? No, because that's the smart thing to do.
I guess it's the smart thing to do. I know everybody's like, well, what if they get hurt? All right, but there is no tune-up. So you don't have to play at all. Pete Alonso 2-run home run. It's now 4-0. But honestly, Michael, I'm excited. They're charging people to go to the game.
Right.
You can't give me Jones and Neighbors for a series. A series. But listen, I'm not going to kill them because nobody else is going to play. Rodgers didn't practice today against the Commanders because it was raining outside. I mean, they're wrapping these guys in bubble wrap, and then we wonder why in the first month of the season, guys are getting hurt and the play is all shoddy and sloppy because they've taken a knee on the preseason. But then again, you see what's happening with Hassan Reddick with the Jets. Is that just basically a glorified, you know what, I can hold out because I don't care. I don't want to be participating in any of this anyway.
Yeah, but it's costing them money. That's incredible. But the thing is, $50,000 a game.
Connor Hughes had a great tweet yesterday. Even if he gets the money he wants, he's going to lose it in the fines. So what are we doing? So why is he bothering doing this?
Well, he probably wants an extension. If he gets the extension, then it's worth this. But if they don't do anything to his, other than guarantee his money, if he's out, let's say he's out 3 weeks, you do the math. That's 50,000 times 21. It's $1 million.
But I guess they just don't feel. We talk so much about, well, you got to be ready for the start of the preseason. These preseason games are tune-ups. He's joining a new team. I guess it really doesn't matter to these players because they're down the 3 preseason games. Nobody plays in the last preseason game. Looks like nobody's going to play in the first preseason game. So they're going to actually go through a training camp in which they'll play a handful of downs and then start the regular season. So I guess it just doesn't matter. But yet that Giant Lion game, and I guess it's on Fox today because NBC's got the Olympics, is probably going to do a better number than both baseball games combined. It's incredible.
They've got, as you like to say about your brother, they have the Kavorka.
They do.
They could do whatever they want, and we're all sheep. If I wasn't doing the game tonight, I'd be watching that. Although I got to be honest, Don, I'm sorry, I know you're not going to like this. I'm kind of into the Olympics. NBC does an unbelievable job in this presentation.
I am not anti-Olympics. I'm just saying it just doesn't float my boat, but I'm not trying to recruit people not to watch. Go have at it. Have fun. I get it.
But I don't like the Olympics, and I'm liking it.
Well, because you know what? Your kids are liking it. It's on. It's a bonding moment for your family, I guess. And listen, it's on in my house, too. It's hard with everything going on that I'm going to get caught up in that when I've got, a football game to watch. I got a baseball game to watch tonight. I mean, I just can't get interested in sports that don't do anything for me.
Did you see, Greek just sent me this, talk about the power of football. So the first week of August, a searing heat. We were in Philadelphia. I was in Philadelphia for the Yankees Phillies series. It was hotter than the surface of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
First week of August, the Eagles had 50,000 fans for an open practice at the Link. A practice where they're wearing those Gazoo helmets. 50,000 people sat there in sweltering heat.
It is amazing. And listen, I love it too. There's never been a sport bigger than football is right now in this country. When everybody else is suffering for trying to find attention, trying to rejigger the way things are done to kind of create a buzz. Do you realize that in any other sport, if this was the NBA and the NHL, and say the Rangers had a big acquisition, a big draft pick, they'll be falling over themselves on that first preseason game at home to showcase that new player. And the Giants will play at home tonight, and Neighbors is not going to play.
Amazing. Now,
again, nobody else is, so I guess I can't rip them for it. But right, if the Knicks had a draft pick as big as Neighbors is, or the Rangers did on that first preseason game that nobody would care about, they'd make sure that they were on the ice or the court for that first one in uniform, waving to the crowd, playing a couple of minutes. They feel a moral obligation to do it.
Now the Giant broadcaster that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Papa on the call,
right?
Joined in the booth by Carl Banks and Phil Simms.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
good for Phil.
Bad for CBS. I don't understand what CBS did with Simms and Esiason. I think people still like them. I really do. Who has more cachet? Those guys or Matt? Why was his name slipping? Matty Ice.
Oh, Matt Ryan?
Yeah, who has more, even not just New York, but in the country? I don't get it.
I don't. Listen, Matt Ryan was a nice, solid football player, even a really good quarterback, if you want to go there. He doesn't light up a room to me. Was there ever a time I had to listen to what Matt Ryan had to say?
Watt does. I understand the hiring of Watt.
No, I get that,
Great-looking guy, Hall of Fame caliber player, but you replace two iconic quarterbacks with one that almost won a Super Bowl?
And I kind of felt it was redundant to have Boomer and Phil there at the same time, but then let them go at the same time. Like and again, they can't help but get people to watch.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much it moves the needle. Like you could say, all right, listen, Phil played. Last game he played was over 30 years ago. So maybe there's an audience that doesn't relate to Phil or to Boomer anymore. So let's bring in younger. But I don't think there's a problem of people watching these games and watching these pre-games and half-times and post-games. Do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so I don't. You always want to try to stay relevant and ahead of the game, but Phil never embarrassed them. He was always very good. been around. Boomer, the same thing. They always added. They understood. They weren't. I never got a sense that they were guys that were too old school. Because sometimes the game does pass older players by. I think you see that in baseball. I'm sorry, you got to get behind the analytics if you're going to analyze baseball today. So if you're a 60-year-old former baseball player, and you're not getting behind the analytics, then you're not analyzing the game properly. But I never felt that either of those two seemed like that they were too old school, that they weren't up on the way
really,
the game's played.
What's the most popular pregame show? You got Terry Bradshaw and Howie Long. I think they're both older than Sims.
Exactly. Howie Long last game, I think, was, what, 1994?
Yeah, and Bradshaw is in his mid-70s,
Yeah, the last Super Bowl that he won was
and
1980.
Jimmy Johnson. So they're okay with older analysts that people revere, but CBS cleans them out. Don't get it.
Michael, I just don't get television. And they obviously know it better than I do. But like the start time of these games and all the decision, the money that they give these analysts when the ratings are through the roof if they had nobody, like I really don't get television, but they must have some sort of formula that they go by that works for them.
All right, when we come back talking about broadcasting, Marty Lyons no longer broadcasting the Jets on radio. 22 years he worked alongside Bob with shoes. Was he all 22 with Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah, all 22 with Bob with shoes in. So Anthony Becht is going to take over, but Marty is still working for the Jets as, I guess, an ambassador role. But we're going to talk to Marty, and we'll try to dig out what exactly happened. That's coming up in just a moment, so we want you to do that with us. So we've got a lot to do today, Don. I don't know if you realize that.
Tons of stuff, and we got 3 hours to do it.
So we'll get it done right here on Yes and ESPN New York.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Your memory is an amazing thing, but sometimes it can start to slow down. But did you know Prevagen can help keep your memory sharp? The secret is the powerful ingredient apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish and found only in Prevagen. In a clinical study, Prevagen was shown to improve memory in subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. Stay sharp and improve your memory with Prevagen. Prevagen, in stores everywhere without a prescription.
Popeyes has the best of both wings. Our juicy chicken is marinated to perfection with 2 distinct twists on all 6 flavors. Whether you prefer our spicy bone-in wings or our classic tender white meat boneless wings, we've got the best of both.
Is Cialis Daily better than Viagra? Does it last longer than Viagra? Are trial packs available? Get started today with a 3-month trial pack if appropriate at TryRexMD.com.
That's Aaron Judge. Yeah.
Sometimes you get the feeling you're watching a Hall of Famer right in the middle of his prime.
We're going to need a longer tape measure.
A monster blast. See ya. Wow.
My son Ian was diagnosed with a brain tumor at the age of 16 months. The outlook was pretty rough. We had no hope until St. Jude rescued us. I mean, they saved him. But then it turned out he had a second cancer. To this date, we are 12 years into this journey, and from day one, we've never once seen a bill. It gave us the peace of mind to know that we're there with our son, and we're gonna beat cancer together. Now, he is doing really, really well. He's alive because of what St. Jude has done. He's here because of the doctors who came before, their blood, their sweat, their tears, of every day being in that hospital, the knowledge that has been accumulated and shared with everyone else around the world. This is how we get rid of this, how we help kids beat cancer all over. It's the future.
Listen, I spotted it from the start. Breaking didn't even have a name yet. All that potential, just waiting to burst free. I think about every battle. Kids from the South Bronx who didn't just knock on the door, they kicked it down. And today, what I saw in us is the same thing I see in you. It's your time. It's all about spotting it early. And if you do, no victory is out of reach.
The Make It Ford Summer Sales Event is on. So make it your best summer ever with Ford. Get your ideal combination of power and capability. And experience hands-free highway driving technology with Ford Blue Cruise, available on select vehicles. It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event, so make it yours. Make it now. Returning lessees can now lease a Ford Explorer for just $319 a month for 24 months, only at your local Ford stores.
Thank you, buddy.
There are many families that need your help. I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I'm asking you to support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation in their efforts to deliver mortgage-free homes to catastrophically injured service members, Gold Star, and fallen first responders families with young children, as well as eradicating homelessness amongst our veterans.
Everybody knows where the money's going. Every single dollar. God bless you.
Please contribute $11 a month to support their efforts by visiting T2T.org.
What if you went to your secret hiding place and found this? All drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, know that you can quit. For help with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/know-the-risks.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Michael and Don with you until 6:30 on a rainy Thursday in the New York area. Kind of surprised when I saw a tweet today by Rich Samini that Marty Lyons, after 22 years as the analyst on Jet Radio, and obviously we're very close to Marty. First of all, we love him as a person. Second of all, you know, the games used to be on 98.7. Now they have moved off 98.7. And Marty is going to no longer be doing the games, replaced in the booth with Bob Wischusen with Anthony Beck. And we wanted to talk to Marty and tell him how much, you know, we're going to miss him. And he joins us now on the phone. Marty, it's Michael and Don. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Michael. How are you doing?
We're doing great. Again, I was a little shocked at the news. Obviously, you know, Jet football on the radio to me is Bob and Marty. So what went down here?
Well, you know what, Michael, I think that there's never a good time to step down. But I just felt after 22 years and having another opportunity to stay in a role with the New York Jets as an ambassador and take on new responsibilities, I thought it would be a new challenge for me. And, you know, I sat down and tried to go back and forth with myself without any advice from my family. I didn't even tell Bob Wischusen. And I woke up one morning and I said, there's not going to be any better day than today. And that was Wednesday, the 24th of July. And I called Jaime and I said, Jaime, if the offer still stands where you want to have an ambassador for the Jets organization with different responsibility, I'll step down from the radio booth and I'd like to take on that responsibility. So there was a mutual understanding between myself and the Jets organization. I didn't want to leave the organization after 22 years. I just wanted a new challenge, something that would be more productive for myself and, you know, hopefully more productive for the organization as a whole.
Now, Marty, I reached out to you earlier today because I think a lot of fans thought that maybe this was health related because you had some health issues back in 2017, but this has nothing to do with your health, right?
No, nothing at all, Don. You know, when I've only missed 4 games in 22 years, and that was in 2017 when I had the stroke. And I only missed the preseason games that year, and I was able to go back to work with the first game up in Buffalo. And at that time, I had what they called nerve 4 palsy, which I had a problem with my eyes. So I wore a patch to that game and switched it back and forth till both eyes got strengthened enough where I could take the patch off.
Now, in the 22 years, Marty, I mean, I've been so fortunate because I'm doing Yankee baseball since '92, and only 1 year they've been under 500. You've called a lot of losing Jet teams and bad football. How tough was that to do, Marty? Because obviously you don't want to trash the team, but you have to tell the truth. So how difficult was for you?
Well, I think it was difficult not just on the broadcasting team. It was tough on the organization, the coaching staff, and the players. And the one thing that we always did up there in the booth was try to be respectful and honest. And you know, if you're calling a game on the radio, you have a blank canvas, and you're just painting the picture to the listeners. And we tried to be as honest and respectful as we could. And I thought we did a great job handling the situation as it came about. But I have no regrets. I think that Bob and I did a tremendous job up there. Unfortunately, the Jets didn't win as many games as we would have liked them to win, but we were always their number one fan. And I've been with the organization now 45 years, and I carry the banner, the flag, you know, everywhere I go. But, yeah, the games got difficult, but to stay honest and respectable, we painted the right picture.
What are you going to miss most about it?
I think, you know, you miss that brotherhood up there in the booth. I think you miss the players. You know, because I was able to build a nice relationship with quite a few of the players on the team, you know, from Quentin Williams to Quincy Williams to C.J. Mosley to Sauce to Garrett Wilson to Tyler Conklin, all those guys. You know, we built a relationship and a friendship. And I think that's what I'm going to miss the most is interacting with those players before the game, after the game, at the hotel, on the plane. But my new role will still enable me to have communication with the players on game day at the home games.
Talking with Marty Lyons here on the Michael K. Show. So, Marty, you're not just a broadcaster for the Jets. You're on the Ring of Honor. You're a man of honor. You do unbelievable charitable work with your foundation. So 22 years on the broadcast. I'm just wondering, when this all comes down, you mentioned Jaime, who's the president of the Jets. Do you talk to the owner of the Jets, Woody Johnson, at all? Has there been any discussion between you two?
Not at all. Not at all. I haven't talked to Woody since last year. I know Woody's got more important things than to worry about me stepping out of the radio booth. I mean, he's got a team that he's got to get ready. Their first preseason game is this coming Saturday. I respect Woody. I respect his brother, Chris. I was good friends with his mom. I used to always see her on the sideline before she passed away and would go up and make sure that I gave her a hug and talked to her. If it was cold, she would look at me and tell me, you know, Marty, you got to put a hat on your head. I go, okay. You know, but there's a great deal of respect for the whole Johnson family and the organization. For me, you know, Michael, it was just time. And for me to do the right thing for not just the organization, but the right thing for my family.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree, Marty. I don't care how busy he is. You're Marty Lyons. Your number's retired. You're in the Ring of Honor. You're the part of the sack exchange, 22 years on the radio, and that's not nothing. I mean, football doesn't have a television announcer. Yeah, they have radio, and even though maybe a lot of people consume it on television, you are a part of this organization. So I'm a little taken aback by the fact that he wouldn't reach out to you on such a very difficult decision from somebody who's so important to the organization.
Well, you know, Don, I respect that. And, you know, I do respect Woody. And I think when the time is right, maybe Woody will reach out. Maybe Woody didn't expect me to, you know, step out of the booth with 2 weeks left to go before the first preseason game. Maybe this is a decision that I should have made back in January, but I wasn't really ready to make it. You know, life will throw you a bunch of curveballs, and then all of a sudden, you know what you get when you got to hit, you got to swing, and that's what I did.
Well, it's weird because, you know, you've covered so much bad football, and this year a lot of people think the Jets could go to the Super Bowl. What's your take? Is this team good enough to go all the way?
You know what? Yeah, Michael, I think they are good enough, but as any season, you know, I've been optimistic since I came in 1979. I thought every year the Jets would, you know, make it to the playoffs and have a nice run to the Super Bowl. This is a special year for them, I think, with Aaron coming back. You have a great leader in him. And I think the one thing that separates a leader from just being a leader is he inspires people. And you're going to see the young players realize that there's nothing better than playing with a guy that's going to go into the Hall of Fame one year down the line. And I had that pleasure by playing alongside of Joe Kleckel for the longest time. And when Joe got inducted 2 years ago, he asked me to be his presenter. So that showed that what he thought of me as a teammate and what he thought of me as a friend. And I think that the relationship that you can build with Aaron and follow in his footsteps and understand that, hey, guys, this opportunity is not going to come along that often, and we have to take advantage of it. I think with Aaron in there, you're going to realize that you have a tight end in Tyler Conklin that's going to be – his numbers can be just as good as Travis Kelce, but he's got to have that opportunity.
You know, you mentioned the relationships, and I had to make a similar decision when the twins were born to leave the broadcast, and the toughest thing was to leave you guys. I mean, I told the story, Michael, when I introduced Marty at the Sasso softball a couple of weeks ago. I told the story about the first time Nancy met Marty. And it's like, who is that tremendously nice person that took the time to talk to me, even though he didn't know who I was? I'm like, that's Marty Lyons. Yeah, one of the most significant members in the history of the Jets organization, taking the time to talk to my wife. And I didn't know you that well when we first started working together. And it's like a family. You and Bob and all the guys behind the scenes, you know, Gary and Joe and Shapiro. I'm really so proud to have been a part of it, and I can understand how difficult this would have been for you, because at the end of the day, whether you go 0-17 or 17-0, you come to work every day because you'll enjoy the people that you work with, and that Jet crew is the best the NFL has ever seen.
Yeah, they really are, Don. They're kind of special. They're family, just like the Jets organization. You know, when you think about it, 45 years of being in the same organization and having the opportunity not just to be a player, not just to host the Jet Journal TV show, not just be up in the radio booth for 22 years, to now being moved down onto the sideline and being an ambassador to the organization. It's a tribute that the organization is saying to me, we respect you enough that we still want you to be a part of the organization. And when I stepped down from doing the radio, Jaime and I had already talked about this 2 years ago, that if the opportunity came up, yeah, I would be interested in it. Because after 22 years up in the booth, and you realize just how many family events you've missed because of your obligations to call the games, you know, and then the preparation that goes into getting ready for a game. You got 3 hours for me. It was 3 hours every Wednesday night, 3 hours every Thursday night, you know, learning the opposing team, watching films, getting ready. It's not just going to the booth every Sunday and you call the game. You know, the preparation took time. And I think the one thing that I'll miss most is, you know, that interacting with the fans, because the fans make you who you are. They can either respect you for the way you played the game, the way you call the game, the way you represent yourself in the community, or they don't like it because you're not truthful, you're not honest, you don't have integrity, and you're doing just something to take money to the bank. Well, you don't take a lot of money to the bank broadcasting, you know, in any, you know, NFL games. What you do is you leave the game high, you know, you leave it holding your head high, and you realize that I did the best that I could for 22 years. I was honest. I was respectful. I have the integrity about the way I called the games, and I leave with my head very high in the air.
And you know what? You should because I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but you are, I mean, Don would agree with me, and I don't have to parrot him. You're one of the class acts that we've ever dealt with. I mean, the work you do with your foundation, helping those less privileged, and it's just amazing all the work you've done and how you've represented the Jets in such an incredibly classy manner. And you will be missed on the radio, my friend, and we hope to run into you at the stadium during game days. But boy, oh boy, this is not a great day for the Jets that Marty Lyon's not going to be doing the radio. I'll tell you that. I think, Don, you agree.
No, with 100%. You're going to be missed. And even though we don't have that same relationship with the Jets we have, I'm a listener. I'm a fan. And to not hear you is going to be bad, I think, for the audience. I think Anthony's going to do a tremendous job, Marty. I think you agree with that. But people are really going to miss you because you've been just so special to anybody who's been a Jet fan for any length of time.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think it's a testimonial to the way the chemistry was built with Bob and myself. I know you guys bust on Bob all the time, but he's the best. He is really the best guy to work with. He comes prepared. He makes it fun to call the games. And over the last 22 years, to me, what was important was he got to know my family, and I got to see him raise his family all the way from Katrina, who's, she would sing the national anthem, and I would look over there at Bob. I had almost tears running down my face thinking, wow, if that was my daughter. And you look over at Bob, and he's just, choking back to tears. So it's all going to work out. It's all going to be good, and I'm really thankful, to the organization and more importantly to the fans.
You're the best, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
All right, Michael, thank you. Thank you, Donna.
All right, stay in touch, man.
All right, we got some things to say, and we're going to take a brief time out, but some things to discuss there. Couple of oddities. I don't know if Don agrees, but a couple of oddities. Hey, it's Michael K. Not sleeping?
The Michael K. Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
This summer, live life the way you want with comfort and style that's truly untucked. At Untuck It, we create the perfect fitting casual styles from head to toe for every body. And yes, we've got styles for her too. We believe everyone should get to look and feel their best because life's moments are better lived untucked. Untuck It. Visit untuckit.com or more than 80 stores worldwide.
This is the GMC Sierra, powered by the TurboMax engine, with the confidence of 430 pound-feet of best-in-class standard torque. GMC Sierra, it's the truck. Current eligible GMC lessees can get this low-mileage lease on this 2024 Sierra Elevation for around $389 per month. We are professional grade GMC.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we encourage all of our players to take a break now and then. Just log in and set your timeout length. You can take a break from days to weeks at a time. Or you can customize it, so you can make every moment matter. When you play safe with Bet365.
That's Aaron Judge. Yeah. Sometimes you get the feeling you're watching a Hall of Famer right in the middle of his prime.
We're going to need a longer tape measure.
A monster blast.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Williams, and I want to share with you the role that diabetes has had in my family. I lost my grandmother at the early age of 64 due to complications with diabetes. She was warm, generous, and a constant encouragement for me to follow my heart. Did you know that African Americans experience chronic kidney disease at a rate that's 25% higher than white Americans? And we're almost 4 times more likely to develop kidney failure. Diabetes and high blood pressure are leading causes of kidney disease, which can result in kidney failure, needing dialysis, or a kidney transplant. The good news is that you have the power to check out how well your kidneys are doing and learn ways to prevent them from failing. So go to your doctor and get yourself checked out. Visit linkmylovetv.org to learn more. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Do you spend hours maintaining your gutters? Save that time with LeafGuard's maintenance-free system. Call 1-833-2-GUTTERS. Mesh filters sit on top of your gutters, building up debris and eventually clogging. Then they need to be cleaned too. Honestly, your home should have been built with LeafGuard gutters. LeafGuard's wraparound hood deflects debris and keeps water away from your home. The one-piece seamless system is strong, 20% thicker than average, and built to last. Plus, LeafGuard is guaranteed to never clog for as long as you own your home. Right now, get a complete LeafGuard system for only $99 down, $99 a month, and $99 installation. You'll also receive a $100 Visa gift card with a free gutter inspection and in-home estimate. Damage from clogged gutters can cost you thousands. Never worry about clogged gutters again. Don't wait, you've still got time. Call 1-833-2-GUTTERS today. That's 1-833-2-GUTTERS.
So we just had on Marty Lyons, ends his 22-year run on the radio as a jet analyst with Bob Wischusen, and toward the end, I got emotional because he got emotional. And I got to tell you, Don, Woody Johnson, be better. When John Sterling stepped down in the middle of the season, the Steinbrenner family was on it. They put together a ceremony for him within like 3 days. Woody Johnson didn't have time to make a 5-minute call to Marty Lyons? Be better.
Yeah.
Be better, man. Be better.
And of course, Marty's going to take the high road for sure, but I don't care how busy you are. He's not putting game plans together. He's not running practices or training camp. Owner of a team, understand the significance of the individual. This isn't just some guy. He's Marty Lyons. He's in the Ring of Honor. He's done the broadcast for 22 years.
He's been with the organization 45.
How do you not, shoot an email, make a phone call, try to talk him out of it, or even if you didn't want to talk him out of it, just say, hey, thanks, man. You just wonder, are you really in touch with your fan base? Are you in touch with what's going on? I mean, listen, maybe there will be a ceremony at some point. Maybe there will be a phone call at some point. But, kind of odd that the Jets issue a statement and there's nothing from Woody Johnson. I think that's just bad form.
And you know what? Because my mind wanders, Don. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
I've got issues. I wonder, did they force him out? Because if you forced him out, you're not going to call him. And did they think it was just time to make a change? Well, if it was, and then Woody was part of the decision-making process to do that, then he wouldn't call him. But if Marty just decided to walk away 3 days, what's today, Thursday? 2 days before the first broadcast, something smells fishy to me. Just saying.
I don't know. I had a long conversation with him because, like I said during the interview, when I saw he came to the softball, didn't say anything to me about it. So when I saw this, I assumed maybe it was maybe a health scare or something. So I called him. We had a long conversation, and that doesn't seem to be the case, Michael. But
you know Marty, though, Don. He is one of the class acts of all time. If he was, he's going to take the high road because he's still going to be an ambassador for the team. But if you injected him with truth serum, do you still want to do the games on the radio? I think he'd say
yeah. All I know is, Michael, I don't know why you would want to do it. He's been great. Him and Bob and I'm not saying it because I was a part of it, but I remember, working, like how proud the Jets were of that broadcast, up and down, the pre and post, the play-by-play. I mean, they took so much pride in it, at least back in the day when I was there. And Bob Parenti was the guy that was in charge, and they just took a lot of pride in that broadcast. And I know it's Woody was the owner then too. But I know there's different people in charge and all that, but I don't know why they'd be any less proud of it now. They were 55 and 108 since the last time they made the playoffs. I mean, so there hasn't been a lot of good to talk about. But, since the kids were born, I'm running around. I listen a lot to the broadcast, Michael, and they could go scorched earth. And I never sensed that they did. So I thought they did a very professional job and represented the organization well. So I'm going to take Marty at his word. Because I just don't think and I think Anthony Becht is going to do a terrific job. Don't get me wrong. I just think that that was the one area I didn't think you had to mess with whatsoever because I think they both did a tremendous job.
Well, you mentioned the record, right? Since the last time, it was 55 and what?
108.
An owner of a team, right? An owner of a team realizes that the greatest asset, a smart owner, the greatest asset he could possibly have is a broadcast crew that tells the truth to the fans. Because if the broadcast crew is there to put lipstick on a pig, then the fans have no respect for the broadcast crew. I mean, as I said during the interview, I've been doing the Yankees for a long time. 1 year they've been under 500, so I'm fortunate. I'm really fortunate. But when they play poorly like they did all of last year, and you say the truth, I've never, ever heard from George Steinbrenner or Hal Steinbrenner, don't rip the team, ever, because the fans are doing it. They want to hear the truth. So when there are good times, you know what happens? They believe that there are good times. Because if you're going to tell them the truth that there's bad times, then they understand that when you say there's good times, then it's actually good times. So don't know if this is the case, but if they don't like the fact that Bob and Marty actually tell the truth to the fans, just like Bob and Carl, on the Giant radio. You know it, Don. I've mentioned it to you. Sometimes I go, wow, they really hammer them. It's respected, and it should be respected by ownership that's the way fans should be treated, not like morons.
Well, my issue, again, because I don't know if this is all obviously speculation, but not getting the significance of this day. You're the owner of the team, one of your great players who's in the Ring of Honor, who has been a part of your broadcast, which is the only local broadcast there is for the New York Jets because television is obviously all national. So these are the voices. In 22 years, he has been your analyst. And you haven't reached out to him? You would think that a statement would be made through the New York Jets with a quote from Woody Johnson.
There was no quote, right?
Yeah, I'll read get the statement again, but to not reach out tomorrow, I was a little taken aback by that. But when you asked, I'm like, well, of course, he's gonna say something that he spoke with him, but and didn't. So
be better, Woody.
I'm a little.
Be better. You're smarter than that. Hey, reset your preset with ESPN New York. Show us you're listening by uploading a photo of a device playing the ESPN New York app for a chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime experience with your favorite radio host. Head to the contest tile on the ESPN New York app to enter. This week's giveaway is a Nick Sweet night with Alan Hahn, plus a courtside shoot-around experience before the game. Keep it locked in all summer long for more great experiences. Now, speaking of Alan Hahn, he and Bart, their show leads right into ours from 12 to 3. And
by the way, just quickly, I just want to there is a tweet from Woody Johnson.
Oh, what did he say?
From on the field to the radio booth, Marty Lyons has always embodied the Jets organization. I'm looking forward to his contributions in his new role.
Call him.
I mean, a tweet. Listen, Marty's on Twitter.
Call him.
Marty's Foundation's on Twitter, but he didn't even at Marty Lyons Foundation. So I don't know. If, Marty's not that. He's not going to see that. So right. I don't think that counts as a reach out.
Speaking of Alan Hahn, he was, the MC essentially. He and Bill Pito for the big press conference, officially announcing Jalen Brunson as the captain of the Knicks. And you know what? We're going to listen, and we're not going to listen. We're going to talk to Alan Hahn. How about that?
Love Alan.
Yeah.
And you guys are, listen, you by that combination might be the future of the radio station.
And we'll also talk to him about this. How about this, Don? You ready for this? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I want you to be ready because I don't want you to be alarmed what I'm going to tell you. And I know that Alan's listening in the car right now, and I don't want him to be alarmed.
Okay.
It is halftime. Men's basketball. Serbia, 54. The United States of America, 43. 54-43. This is a team that no one thinks has a chance to lose and is going to skate to the gold. Serbia, 54. USA, 43 at the half. We're going to keep an eye on that. Shocker. We'll talk to Alan about that when we get back, right here on Yes and ESPN New York.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Popeyes has the best of both wings. Our juicy chicken is marinated to perfection with 2 distinct twists on all 6 flavors. Whether you prefer our spicy bone-in wings or our classic tender white meat boneless wings, we've got the best of both.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years. When I have customers come in and ask for something for memory, I recommend Prevagen. Number one, because it's safe and effective, does not require a prescription. And I've been taking it quite a while myself, and I know it works. And I love it when the customers come back in and tell me, David, that really worked so good for me. Makes my day.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, Mel. Is now good for a quick catch-up on your plan?
Yes, now's great.
Has anything changed since we last spoke?
You know what? Yes, I'm thinking more long-term.
Great. We'll make that change to your plan and adjust as needed.
This helps a lot.
Bye, Mel.
Bye.
Make sense of your money with Citizens.
After careful review of medical guidance and research on pain relief, my recommendation is simple. Every home should have Salon Paws. Powerful, yet non-addictive. Targeted and long-lasting. I recommend Salon Paws. It's good medicine.
Chevy lets you begin every day fully charged, so you can go farther. And so can your money. Tow with confidence. Plus, stay connected with available OnStar technology. For summer adventures, Chevy's got you. Get $5,750 total value on this Silverado LT when you trade in an eligible vehicle. That's 10% below MSRP. See your local Chevy dealer.
At Domino's, we know there's a lot of pressure to tip these days. Everywhere you go, there's a tip screen.
Great set, bro. Now take a look at this screen real quick.
Okay. And do you, Michael, want to answer one more question?
At a time when tipping can feel thankless, Domino's wants to say,
thanks for the tip.
By tipping you back. Tip your Domino's driver $3 or more online and we'll tip you $3 to use on next week's order. Only in Domino's.
Well, we just told you the score at halftime. Serbia leading the United States by 11. Steph Curry has 20 points. Jokic has 9. And we talked about it when we did our mashup show, Alan Hahn and I. And, we both agreed USA is going to roll. But I wonder what Draymond Green is thinking that this team would win in double digits 5 out of 7 times against the original Dream Team. Let's bring in Alan now. We're going to talk about the Brunson thing, but Alan, you heard that score. Are you kind of shocked?
Yeah, I am a little bit because, first of all, Steph Curry's having his first best game, his first great game of the tournament. You would think they should be running away with this the way he's shooting the basketball. He's 6 of 9 from 3. But, you know, that's the danger of this whole thing. If you take a team a little too lightly, and, you know, I talked about it with Ty Butler on my show earlier today. For Nikola Jokic, like, a win here might be the biggest win of his career. Like, even the NBA championship, like, this might be the biggest win of his career because while they also have Bogdan Bogdanovic, like, they have another NBA player, there's no way Serbia should win this game. So that's just something to watch here when it comes to a legacy game for a guy that's considered the best player in the world.
Now, I wouldn't get too crazy. I mean, they have a whole second half. It could still blow them out by 20, but
of course,
it's still so strange to see this because it just looked like they would not be challenged whatsoever. And you can't mess around because these teams, I would think these countries are like, they can make their world by winning these games.
This is 1980, the U.S. versus Russia. Like, that's what this is. Like, it's like that's the kind of tournament this has become. And we keep being warned each year. You know, I was talking to Brian Windhorst, who's over there covering it for us. And Brian and I were talking before the Olympics started. And he was like, I think this could be the best Olympics basketball-wise that we've ever seen. Like, it could be really competitive. And then we saw exhibition, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it will be. Like, Canada looks like a good team. Serbia's got Jokic. Giannis is in this thing. And then the actual tournament started, and it was like, nope. You know, it's going to be another one of these. You know, they're going to win by 20. They're going to roll the gold. They're not ready for us yet. But this game, like, I just looked at this game, and I thought, Jokic is a great player, and he owns Anthony Davis. Embiid does play well against him, but I was like, if you get good team play and the U.S. defense isn't as good as it needs to be, there's a shot. So that's what made this game really interesting. But, Donnie, you're right. There's a whole second half, and this thing could end up being a 20-point blowout in a blink if the U.S. just turns it on the right way.
But here's something that worries me, a stat that worries me, Alan. From the field, the USA is 15 for 31, so it's not like they're shooting poorly. And they're still losing by 11. Yeah. So, I mean, what do we expect them to do in the second half? You expect them to really go all out. Well, I'm sure they went all out in the first half. But you can't shoot much better than 50% from the field.
No, but the problem is they're giving up 50 points in the half. And in Olympic play, it's not an NBA game. It's not 48 minutes. So, you know, a 100-point game is not really heard of. So their defense has got to get better in the second half. It's not going to be about scoring. It's going to be this group of superstars having a lockdown. And that has...
Well, they cut the deficit down to 7 with about 8.5 to go in the second half. So, you know, it's interesting because, Alan, you brought up 1980. And you know, if this were to go through, I mean, you'd have to rank it close to that, right?
Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Like, yeah, because you're a little... Like, think about it. It's the semifinal, just like 1980. It's the behemoth that never loses, just like 1980. Now, it's not college guys in Serbia. They still have a 3-time NBA MVP on the team. You know, the U.S. team, you know, Michael Ruzioni and company, they weren't any of that stuff. But when you compare, you know, the idea of, you know, overwhelming wins, you know, this isn't 2004 where that team was very, very undisciplined and careless in why they got the bronze that year in 04. This is a team of the legends of the game who are all about getting another gold medal. This is Kevin Durant's swan song as an Olympian, LeBron's swan song as an Olympian. They're highly decorated. And then there's Steph Curry, his first Olympics experience. So, yeah, like if this happens, but I wouldn't bet it, but if this happens, it would be really, really high up there when it comes to huge upsets.
We're talking to our colleague, Alan Hahn, who did the Q&A with Jalen Brunson at the Garden Press Conference today to officially announce his captaincy. Let me tell you a quick story, Alan. So you know that I'm very close with Mike Breen. And sometimes I'll ask him, you know, off the record, because you look at Brunson, and, you know, he's almost like too good to be true. And I said to Mike, I said, dude, really, what's the real deal? And he said, better than you think. He said, if you think he's too good to be true, he's actually better than that. He said he's one of the favorite people I've ever covered in the NBA. Do you agree with Mike?
Yeah. I do. Now, first of all, I can't believe you said dude to Mike Breen, because you know how he feels
we
about
drop
that.
dudes on each other all the time.
Well, I don't want to hear about that.
Wait a minute. He gets on my case about that. How is that possible? I'm not allowed to say it, but you are?
Yes.
I guess the relationship
we
allows
go
it.
back like 40 years.
Yeah, I guess so. That's a good point. Yeah, you've got some stories about him probably that he'd never want out from college, so I understand.
Oh, I do.
But no, yes. But no, I feel that way. You know, in fact, when I was sitting with him on the dais and we were just doing our Q&A, and he was giving the answers that it's like I couldn't have scripted that answer better, like an incredibly perfect answer. And then I'm like staring at him like this can't be real. Like this has to be an act, but it's really not. And you learn that when you meet his mom. And when you talk to, like, his mom, Sandra, who's an unbelievably lovely person, like, incredibly lovely. You know, Rick is a great guy, his dad, who's the super competitive side of him. And he comes off when you first meet him as, like, this is a tough guy. He's going to be hard to talk to. And then the more you get to know him, you're like, wait a minute, he's one of the coolest guys to talk to. He's great. So you can see where it comes from, the parents. But it's not an act. For him, it's like, this is how you're supposed to be. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. And you know how we are as sports fans? We have this image of, you know, our athletes should behave this way and act like this. I think Jalen looks at it that way, just like Aaron Judge looks at it that way. Is like, this is what I would want in my hero. I'd want him to be this way. So he's carrying himself that way, I think, with that in mind.
Now, you've covered enough athletes to know the pressure it puts everybody else on when somebody goes out of their way to do the right thing. So how do not just his teammates, but also around the NBA looking about the pressure of, should I feel like I have to do this? And I relate it to what is happening with Julius Randle now. Does he feel pressure to kind of follow suit moving forward?
It's a great question. And I thought it was interesting today that he brought it up like himself, like it was unprovoked. And he said, I don't care about the criticism I got for it. I don't care that people think it was a bad idea or the wrong move. It was the right move for me. So I think he's looking at it as, I'm not trying to set some example. This fits for me. Like, think about the uniqueness of his situation. His dad is an assistant coach. The head coach is somebody he's known his whole life. The team president was not only his agent, but his father's agent, and also somebody he's known his whole life. Like, he has three teammates that are his best friends that he grew up with. Like, he called it home, and I don't think he was using that word sort of to get everybody all emotional and fired up. I think he legitimately looks at it like, if I can't trust everything around me here in this organization, who can I trust? And I don't know if any other athlete really has that. You know, like, it's just a unique situation that allows him to make that kind of a decision where from the outside you think of it as, man, you left a ton of money on the table. Are you crazy? This team, you know, they'll screw you in a heartbeat. But he's looking around like, not these guys. Like, this is family. So I think that's why it's a little bit different than for anybody else, and I would include Julius Randle in that.
All right, so I don't mean this to be cute, but the money quote during this Q&A was when he was asked about, I guess the Knicks made a presentation for him for his organization. Please tell everybody that quote. It's amazing.
Yeah, right. So usually this is the point of these press conferences. Michael, you've done many of these, and I do want everybody to know that I texted Michael this morning for, like, just because you've done so many of these, and I watch how just, you know, smooth everything goes, and it's like, I just asked you just for a little bit of advice, because this is like a big deal. Like, for me anyway, career-wise, like, I'm on a dais, I'm with Jalen Brunson, I got the Garden Vision literally behind me, you know, live TV, live radio, and I'm like, all right, I don't want to screw this up. I don't even want to be noticed. So I asked Michael for advice, and I mean, you had texted me almost seconds later with a great paragraph of stuff that I used. But this moment to me was hysterical, because when you present, like, okay, now we're going to present a check for your foundation, most people like turn off the TV, like, you're not really focused on that. But when John Starks, we called John Starks up to the podium, and along with Jalen's foundation, it's called Second Round Foundation, and the person who runs his foundation was also there as well. And as the check was coming up and I was about to say the amount of the check, Jalen into the microphone looks at me and he goes, for $113 million. And that's how much he left on the table.
Wow.
to which I didn't hear at first because, as you know, Michael, with these things, there's a lot of noise in your ear and reverb and people telling you what comes up next that I missed it at first. So he pulled me aside to make sure I heard. He goes, "Did you hear what I said?" I go, what did you say? He told me. And I said, "That's funny because I was going to say to you, let's bring up your dad, who's now the highest paid assistant coach in NBA history." But it's a great line that he also gets it and understands that he can make a joke about that in that kind of a moment. He knows what he did. But it was an awesome, great one-liner to throw in at the end of this press conference.
And how did the Garden get Ewing? I mean, I covered Ewing as a player. He was not the most agreeable dude when it came to the media, but he must have a great relationship with this front office for him to show up for this.
Yes, and I mean, I've gotten very close to Patrick over the years. He was, like, when I was a kid, that was my hero, my favorite player. But I've gotten to know him very well, and he certainly has changed. And he has admitted to me, too, that, yeah, like in the past I wouldn't have done this, but he's starting to realize the importance of legacy and the importance of those who care about him and the importance of being around for this stuff. So, you know, for him, I did look up when I came out. He's the first person I saw. And, of course, he's busting my chops right out of the gate, which is exactly the best way to get me comfortable. And I saw him and the big smile on his face, and it does say a lot about all those guys. And you remember in the playoffs, they created this new thing. We always had Celebrity Row at Madison Square Garden, right? But there's now a new thing at the Garden that developed almost organically on the baseline called Alumni Row, which all the former players, and Bernard King will be there, John Starks is there, waving towels, jumping up and down, and it's almost like they call it the uncles, and they all show up. Melo will sit there. You'll get players that you like. Oh, I forgot he played for the Knicks. He'll be there. They all go crazy like a bunch of uncles at an AAU game, and Patrick has been part of that, and I think he kind of enjoys it. So yeah, like having him there was a pretty big deal for Jalen. Because when you talk about captains in Knicks history, he's right up there, Willis Reed and Clyde, obviously, as the biggest names.
And this has just changed the image of the Knicks completely. I mean, just to be able to have all these alumni come back and now become a destination, one of the biggest stars in the sport, takes a discount. So, boy, the image has changed overnight. Not just by the way they played on the court, but moves like this, there's no more conversation about nobody wants to play for the Knicks anymore. They can make it a destination that quick.
Yes, and you have to credit. And I actually asked Jalen that about how remarkable is it, like you've been here for a minute. Like it feels like he's been a Knick for 5 years.
Right.
He's been here for 2 seasons. And in 2 seasons, not only has he emerged as the face of the franchise, as one of the best players in the NBA, as a beloved figure in New York City. I mean, Michael, you and I talked about this earlier in the week. Aaron Judge. Like, Aaron Judge is, like, probably the most beloved, revered, current New York athlete. Aaron Rodgers is just a different story altogether as far as well-known in popularity. But Judge is, like, probably one of the most beloved. But I took calls for an hour from fans saying that Jalen's right there with Judge. And I'm like, Judge has been here for 7 years. You've been here for 2. And this is what you've been able to do. And you have people talking about the Knicks as a team that can win a championship, which I don't even think Carmelo Anthony had people talking with that much confidence when saying it. You might whisper it, but you never say it with your chest. This team, people are saying it like, yeah, I could see this. I could see it happening, all because of what kind of he embodies and what he's already shown us in just 2 seasons.
Well, great stuff, Alan. Listen, for what it's worth, I'm proud of you. I thought you obviously did a great job, and I know it's something that meant a lot to you growing up, and, this is something you always wanted to do. And then to be on that floor, to do the Q&A, that must have been very, very cool for you. So kudos to you, my friend.
Yeah, man. Great job.
Thanks, guys. Just following your lead. Appreciate you both.
All right, that's Alan Hahn. You could hear him with the Barton Hahn Show from noon to 3, right before our show all the time. Yeah. Let's hear a little bit from Jalen Brunson and some of the interview with Alan. Here's Jalen when he was asked, what does being a leader mean to you?
It's something that I was really born to do. I was raised to do. No matter what field I was in, no matter if I was a doctor or a lawyer or whatever I wanted to be in life, I was going to lead. My parents told me never be a follower, always be a leader. And I really took it to heart. And then there were never times where they were like, okay, now it's time to be a leader, go do it. It just happened so naturally because that's the mindset that they gave me. But it's been a remarkable journey with them.
Now, I talked about his contract extension, which really, truly, Don, I don't think this is hyperbole. This is the talk of the NBA.
Sure is.
And kind of the talk of professional sports for a guy to do this. Jalen talked about that contract.
I just knew that if I did this, it would give us a lot of flexibility and to help us put us in a position to win. And I know that a lot of people don't agree with it. There's a lot of people who are thinking like it's not as smart from a personal standpoint, from an individual standpoint. But I just know that I'm comfortable here. This is home for me, and so I don't worry about what anyone else says, what they think. Their opinions are their opinions. That's perfect. They can have them. But I'm just focused on what we're building here and how can we improve.
Now, I think it was last week, he was at Yankee Stadium, and he met Aaron Judge. A lot of people say, oh, it's either Judge or Brunson is the most popular player in New York. And Brunson was asked about what was it like meeting the Yankee captain.
Maybe not stand so close to him next time. Because it looks like we should switch professions. He's a great guy. And yeah, we didn't get to talk in the detail, but just seeing from afar how his teammates think of him, how he's a hard worker, how he puts the team first, and most importantly, what his teammates think of him. And so from that conversation and just being in that clubhouse and seeing them and seeing the interactions and everything, that was my main takeaway from that whole experience, is that he's a leader because of his actions and how hard he works and all that stuff.
Now, Brunson, in 2 years now, as Alan said, Donna, it's true. It seems like he's been here forever. It's 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
And the fans love him. Why wouldn't they? And he talked about why he's so beloved by the fans.
I appreciate it. I think it starts with just kind of being humble. I know that with me, I take accountability of my actions. And if I play well, I give credit to my teammates. If I play crap, I say it's my fault, because that's what a leader should do. They should really never take credit for when they're quote unquote doing well. This is how the team works. It's all about how team success can be, and so that's truly all I focus on. And I think the people of New York embrace that and love that about me, just because of just how New York is. And New York is a city that you got to go out there and go get it. Nothing's going to get handed to you, and so that's just my mindset, and I'm happy I am the way I am.
Let me tell you a quick story, Don, a personal story. So, it was Charlie's 9th birthday in November. And, Jody and I asked him, what do you want? Do you want a party? Blah, blah. He said, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to take 3 of my best friends and go to the Knick game. And we said, okay, great. So we thought we'd add a little spice to it. So we got there early, and we took the 4 boys, and they sat on the bench watching shoot-around for both teams. And, Mike Breen played a big role in making that happen, because Mike loves Charlie, just does. And so they were sitting there, and I didn't expect anything from anybody. The fact that they were there, I told Charlie, not a lot of kids are lucky enough to do this. This is special, and he understood. And then Rick Brunson, Jalen's dad, came over, and he started talking like he's a Yankee fan. And he said, what are you guys here for? I said, well, it's my son Charlie's birthday. He goes, oh, that's so neat. And I never ever expected anybody to come over, never asked for it, didn't want it. And Yes is showing the picture right now about this story. I'm glad that they did this. And then Rick, in the moment while Jalen's doing his work, he went over to him and just said something to him. And that was it. And when he was done shooting, he came over and he shook Charlie's hand. And I mean, and there was an engagement there where he looked right in his eye. It's one of my favorite pictures that, again, Yes is showing, where Charlie's sitting on the bench with his 3 buddies, and he's looking up at Jalen Brunson, and Brunson's looking at him. There's a real engagement there. And that's one of the reasons I think Aaron Judge is so special, the way he reacts and interacts with children. And Don, Brunson did that. He had me at hello. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm nobody to the Knicks. I don't work for the Garden. I don't work for the Knicks. And it was just something that his dad thought that would be a nice thing. And he came over and did that. And I get choked up even talking about it. Seeing that picture, it just gets me all dewy.
Because we're getting away from that, right? The athlete has become so rich and so important that there's been a distance, a significant distance between the athlete and the fan.
Yep.
And moments like what Judge did with your son, what Brunson did with your son, they'll be hooked for life. Like, I would not be surprised if the Yankees and the Knicks, obviously the Yankee connection because of you, but, maybe that makes him a Knick fan for the rest of his life. And that's what I wish these players would understand. Yeah, I get you got to get yours. And you got to get your money. I understand that. But there's still that connection between the fans and the players that really makes sports go. And that can't get lost. And I'm glad that Brunson feels that way. I'm glad that Judge feels that way. They're going to the fourth quarter, Michael. Serbia up 13.
Oh, my goodness. This is going to be one of the great upsets in Olympic history if that holds.
I'm watching this game, and they're nailing their threes, Serbia. Really, it's just like an NBA game. It's all about shooting from the perimeter. But all their shots are going down, and it's not like the USA is missing theirs, although they just missed a layup there. But they just come right down the court, fire up threes, and nail them. And they've got within 6, the USA, because you could see that they're getting aggravated now. They're like, come on, we got to do something here. But every time the USA puts up a push and got within 6, couple of misses, couple of threes later, it's 13 starting the fourth quarter.
Wow. We're going to watch this closely. Again, if they lose this game, this is one of the great upsets in Olympic history because this is a great USA team. And the Serbia team, as Alan mentioned, has 2 NBA players on it. And there's Hall of Famers on the USA team. Hall of Famers. Yeah. Up and down that lineup. Those people are going to the Hall of Fame. Durant, LeBron, Steph, AD, they're all Hall of Famers.
And this is going to be tough to live down. It certainly would be. But again, like Serbia is not bereft of talent, but still, I wonder what the spread was going into this game. I'm sure it was 15.5, Michael. So that tells the story right there.
So for better, they're up 28.5 right now.
Yeah, I think you're good with the number. But 9 minutes to go, the lead is down to 11, and that's kind of where it's bounced between like 6 and. But the U.S. has not been able to get within closer to 6, and every time they do, Serbia comes right back. Bogdanovic at one point was like in LeBron James' face. They're emboldened now, where they're starting to feel it, and I'm sure the pressure has got to be gargantuan right now on the USA to see if they can close this out. It'll be interesting to see how these final 9 minutes go.
So Greek's giving me some numbers. Turnovers, the USA has 9, Serbia has 5. So that's a big thing too. So, again, turnovers, USA 9, Serbia 5. We're going to be all over this. Obviously, follow it right through to the end. And then we got some talking to do if they actually lose this game. I know we've done a lot of talking today. Talked to Marty, just talked to Alan. We'll take some phone calls with you because we want to talk with you as well. 1-800-919-3776. That's the number. Talk with us, Michael and Don, right here on Yes and ESPN New York.
Aaron Judge.
Yeah. Sometimes you get the feeling you're watching a Hall of Famer right in the middle of his prime.
The captain is rolling.
They're going to need a longer tape measure.
A monster blast. See ya. Wow.
Big season. More reasons to say yes. Yes to pick and play jackpots up to $25,000. Yes to in-game action and live chats with Pick and Play Live. Check it out now on the Yes app.
Asbestos lung cancer case. But would you be confident that you made the best choice? Whites & Luxembourg is the firm that has represented more asbestos disease clients than any other firm in the metropolitan area. With 30 years experience, they have New York's highest recorded asbestos verdicts of all time. The choice is clear, and the stakes could not be higher.
Whites & Luxembourg has our backs.
Call Whites & Luxembourg today.
Call Whites & Luxembourg today at 917-LAWYERS. That's 917-LAWYERS.
Make this a summer to share in the 3-row Kia Sorento, the tech-forward Sportage, the available all-wheel drive Seltos, or the IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus Telluride, each one recommended by Consumer Reports. This summer, Visit your local Kia dealer.
Get 0.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of select new 2024 Sportage and 2024 Sorento models.
It's Aaron Judge. Yeah.
Sometimes you get the feeling you're watching a Hall of Famer right in the middle of his prime.
They're going to need a longer tape measure.
A monster blast. See ya. Wow.
I'm a doctor, but I can't think clearly anymore, so I can't do my job.
Long COVID causes debilitating cognitive issues.
I'm a runner, but now I can't walk 100 feet without getting exhausted.
Long COVID causes crippling fatigue that may last a lifetime.
I've lost friendships because of long COVID. I just don't feel well enough to see people.
People may look outwardly healthy, but they're suffering from a physical disorder that can upend lives.
Everything hurts. I can't even go out and play.
Up to 30% of COVID patients develop long COVID, and right now, there's no cure and little understanding.
I can't focus. I can't think straight. I can't keep a job.
So for those suffering daily, there's just one urgent question.
How long?
How long?
How long? How long?
Until we solve long COVID. The Solve Long COVID initiative is bringing together patients, researchers, doctors, and drug developers to find answers now. To learn more and see how you can help, go to solvelongcovid.org.
At Spectrum, we know that internet is a vital tool to help you fulfill your dreams.
My dream is to become a video game developer.
My dream is to get my online college degree. That's why Spectrum has affordable solutions to keep you connected. At Spectrum, we are committed to delivering reliable, affordable internet and unlimited mobile to keep you connected to what matters most to you.
Chevy lets you begin every day fully charged, so you can go farther. And so can your money. Tow with confidence. Plus, stay connected with available OnStar technology. For summer adventures, Chevy's got you. Get $5,750 total value on this Silverado LT when you trade in an eligible vehicle. That's 10% below MSRP. See your local Chevy dealer.
Do you think a man has ever used Blue Chew with you?
Yeah, my boyfriend uses it all the time. Proudly.
Oh my god, so he's like subscribed to that?
Yeah.
Really? And you like it?
Oh, it's on my card.
Babe, really?
Girl, I have needs. What do you mean, really?
So you pay for his Blue Chew?
It's like an investment in myself.
See, so you're just supporting him.
Of course.
And in turn, he's supporting you.
He's taking care of me, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay, and how fast you can get started.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
If you get a phone call, do not talk to the person.
Never, ever give out your Medicare number. Just hang up.
I check my Medicare statements monthly.
To report Medicare fraud, contact the Senior Medicare Patrol in your state.
All right, so Don, I'm trying to find NBC on the TV here in my little studio. What do we got?
We're just coming out of break, so give me 1 second.
I was just downstairs, and one of the guys told me 8 points now.
Yeah, well, 78-73. It's down to 5 with 7:02 to go in the game. So I think they'll be okay, although Serbia does have the ball. So they were down by as many as 15, cut it down to 5. So we'll see how they answer, and Serbia just answered to get it back up to a 7-point lead when there's 7 to play. So this is still going to go down to the wire. No matter how it looks, Michael, if they win, it's not going to be what we were talking about with Allen, where they're going to run away and win by 20. They're going to have to sweat this one out.
Well, that's okay, as long as you win. If it's one by one.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. But let's say, and I'm not going to say I have an intimate knowledge of Serbia. They do have some NBA players. But I'm wondering, the guys that aren't NBA players, I'm sure they play a lot more together. Right. So is it almost like the NCAA tournament where the teams that don't have one-and-dones can actually beat the higher seeds because there's more continuity there? Because as great as these players are, Michael, they were thrown together and have not played a long time. I'm sure a lot of these other countries have a lot more chemistry than the USA does.
Well, it's game time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Baseball, the Mets are playing an afternoon game today, starting at 3:10. Do we have a score on that, Don?
That game is 7-0. Alonso's got 2 home runs, and that game's in the bottom of the 5th.
And then the Yankees face the Angels at 7:05. I'm getting a lot of texts from friends. I'm seeing tweets as well as the game's still on. Yankees are pretty good with this. If they were going to rain out the game, they rain it out early. I'm not saying that it won't get rained out, but obviously at this point, it's on. It's on.
Well, the Yankees are tied with the Baltimore Orioles, right? These games don't mean anything for the Angels, but are they even close to being back in the area again? The Angels? I mean, they're going to have to try to get this game in.
I saw that the one open date would be they're on a road trip toward the end of the year, and the Yankees have an off day, so they'd have to come back then. And also, the Giants play their first preseason game against the Lions. It starts at 7 tonight.
And I also should mention, before you finish up what you were saying, is that, Allen's going to play for Buffalo. Mahomes is playing for Kansas City. So it's not like everybody is taking a knee on these preseason games, but God, I just think a lot of people would be interested in seeing Jones to neighbors in this first preseason game, and getting robbed of that's not kind of cool at all.
Oh, just a turnover by the USA. Serbia gets a putback to go up 7 again. That's game time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the brand new Tullamore Dew Honey during tonight's action. Glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. So, what we're talking about, if you just joined us, the United States playing Serbia. Serbia is leading. They're in the fourth quarter. We'll be all over this one. We don't want to get arrested and do play-by-play.
No.
But we'll keep you up to date on everything going on.
Because that might be something they follow through with, the Olympics. Like, if you do play-by-play, like here or there for like the odd baseball game or something, maybe you fly into the radar. I think if the IOC would definitely have a problem with us doing play-by-play.
I think NBC more. Anyway, Embiid just hit a three-point play, so Serbia is up by 4. Serbia is up by 4. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Pat and Wyckoff. Pat.
Hey, Michael and Don. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's up?
Oh, good. Appreciate the interview with Marty Lyons. Wanted to weigh in on that. I'm 37 years old, so I don't have the benefit of remembering what it was like to see him as a player, although I get plenty of recaps from the family that watched him play for a long time. But I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's 22 years that he now has finished up with doing the
22
color.
years on the radio, yep.
So, that goes back to, by my math, like for somebody my age, going back to the Pennington glory days when he first came in, which is a little bit sad to call that the glory days, but other than Sanchez, what do I have? Besides that, I really, when you guys talked to him and you came back from break and you talked about how it felt kind of odd, or it felt like there was something more to it. I hope there's not, but if it isn't something where they were forcing him out and it's not another case of the Phil Simms and the Boomer Esiason and moving him out for the next generation of guys, I don't really know how to put it. And, I'm not the biggest Anthony Beck fan by any means. I didn't think he was, by any stretch of the imagination, an elite jet for anybody.
Yeah, but you know what, Pat? He's Anthony Beck is good on the air. All we could go, we thank you for the phone call. All we could do is go by what Marty Lyons said. And Marty Lyons said that he just decided to give it up. Now, if you said to me, Michael, you've got to make a decision right here. Do you think that the Jets pushed it or not? It's tie game now, 84-84. Do you think they pushed it or not? And my guess would be that they pushed it. But again, that's not what Marty's saying.
Well, that's it.
And Don spoke to Marty off the air. This is just me trying to read the tea leaves. To me, it smells like they pushed him out.
Well, I can only honor what Marty has to say.
Right.
So, and I love Marty, And he told me that it was his decision, and I've got no reason not to believe him. So we can leave it at that. I don't know why Woody wouldn't reach out to him. That's kind of odd to me. But it is what it is. It's 22 years. We all came together. I started doing it with Greg in 2002, and that's when Bob and Marty were put together. And then we worked for 16 years, and then the last 6 were done with Dan. And then the 7th year is coming on, and they're going to be on another radio station, which was tough to do too, Michael. That was tough to see them leave.
Right.
Because that had been a major part of what we did. As a matter of fact, in 2001, they were on ABC, which was a part of our family. So really, since day one of this radio station, the Jets were a part of what we did. And now they're not.
Let me stop you for a second. Getting the Jets to be on our station, I give Tim McCarthy the credit for this.
Yeah.
That kind of legitimized us as a sports station. And then when he got the Knicks and the Rangers, I think that put us over the top that we could, stand up with anybody. So those were big acquisitions for us. And losing the Jets this year stunk. It stunk.
And I will say this, Michael, as far as that we were making the transition back to 1050 at the end of the month, we were able to acquire the Jets and the MSG teams while we were on 1050.
Yes.
So that tells you that, I know it seems jarring that we're going back to the AM, but while we were originally on the AM, we were able to acquire the Jets. And you're right, that put us on the map. And then a few years later, I guess it was during the 04-05 season. That was the first year we got the Knicks. So somewhere in 2004, which is now 20 years, Michael, we've been having the Knicks and the Rangers on our air. Pretty proud of that, and we're going to maintain that right now with the Knicks and Rangers, but not with the Jets. But there's something about football announcing, Michael. It's weird because you don't have local TV. But listen, let's be honest. Most people consume their football at home watching it on television. It's a Sunday. But they know who the radio announcers are. They hear those highlights. There are times where they have to listen to those games. And, and whether you're a Giant fan, Papa and Carl Banks are an institution. They've been doing it for a long time, too. And then for, 22 years having Bob and Marty together, it's jarring. That's why we wanted to get Marty on, and it's an emotional day for him that he's stepping away, and I think Anthony Beck is going to kill it. I worked with him a bunch. He's going to do the homework, and I think that broadcast is going to be fine, but still to hear a Jet game and Marty not be involved with it is going to be very interesting.
And, we've talked about this before this even happened. Over the years, to do a team that's that institutionally bad, that's heavy lifting, dude. I'm sorry. That's heavy lifting. That's hard to do that. And again, you're working for the team. Remember that. You're working for the team, and you got to tell the truth. And they stunk. They have stunk for a long time.
And Michael, you don't go about what you're saying with the situation with was he forced out or lightly as the USA takes a 1-point lead here with 2:15 to go, is that now everybody owns their own rights.
Right.
So it's back in the day, radio stations would buy the rights and there'd be a little bit more freedom to kind of be critical and all that. But now all these teams own their own rights, whether it's television or radio, and it's kind of changed the landscape where you having that opinion that you have is not a crazy thought, because everything's in-house, and they're going to want their announcers to be a mouthpiece. But, again, Marty's not going there, and so we shouldn't either.
All right, so USA's up by 3 now, and the shots that were falling for Serbia, they're not falling now. Now they're turning the ball over. USA driving, have a chance to go up by 5, and they do. So they've turned, a 13-point deficit to a 5-point lead.
I don't know how you feel about this. Like they're all fired up. You almost feel disappointed that they're in the situation that they're in, right? Like they're going to breathe a sigh of relief and they won and a step closer to a gold medal. But, God, they should not be in the situation that they're in. But you're right. Serbia, their threes aren't falling, and they were all falling at the end of that third quarter. And now here in the fourth quarter, Curry's draining threes and Serbia's not, and that's why it's now a different situation.
All right, 1-800-919-3776. More to talk to you about. A lot of stuff going on. Yankees and the Angels at this point. 19 minutes to 5 o'clock. Have not heard anything. It looks like they are going to play. The tarp is on the field right now. But we'll give you any information as it becomes available. At this point, looks like they are going to play because it would be awfully hard to make up this game. And that's what happens with balanced schedules, Don. Teams come into a city once, so you got to do everything you can to play those games. You just have to. Yesterday they got in 2. I didn't think they will. Today they just have to get up 1, and then after that the Rangers come into town starting tomorrow. Anyway, we have more to come on the K Show. Michael and Don with you till 6:30 on Yes and on ESPN New York.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Yale New Haven Health, powering medical breakthroughs.
This man's breakthrough, getting stronger in his 60s, was made possible by another breakthrough. The use of heated, concentrated chemotherapy to treat stage 4 cancer cells like never before. That's the expertise of Yale Cancer Center and Smilo Cancer Hospital. Together, we're powering breakthroughs with the greatest of care.
Your memory is an amazing thing, but sometimes it can start to slow down. But did you know Prevagen can help keep your memory sharp? The secret is the powerful ingredient apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish and found only in Prevagen. In a clinical study, Prevagen was shown to improve memory in subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. Stay sharp and improve your memory with Prevagen. Prevagen, in stores everywhere without a prescription.
The Make It Ford Summer Sales Event is on. So make it your best summer ever with Ford. Get your ideal combination of power and capability. And experience hands-free highway driving technology with Ford Blue Cruise, available on select vehicles. It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event, so make it yours. Make it now. Returning lessees can now lease a Ford F-150 for just $299 a month for 24 months, only at your local Ford stores.
Within 15 seconds of logging onto social media, the algorithm has your daughter in its crosshairs. It sends her a steady flow of images telling her she isn't thin enough, pretty enough. They invade her brain, causing body dysmorphia, anxiety, depression, leading to the worst rates of eating disorders, self-harm, and suicide we have ever known. All while she's sitting right next to you on her phone. Congress knows, but it refuses to act. Don't let her suffer the secret pain alone. Use your voice. Demand a plan. Join us at the Center for Countering Digital Hate, protectingkidsonline.org, because it's up to you to protect your children from social media nightmares. Join us for her, for your daughter.
I'm Dave Portnoy, and I'm asking for your help in supporting the Tunnel to Towers Foundation as it continues to pay off the mortgages for fallen first responder and Gold Star families who died in the line of duty and left behind young children. Not only that, but they also build mortgage-free smart homes for catastrophically injured veterans and have recently committed to eradicating homelessness amongst our veterans. Tunnel to Towers has been caring for America's greatest heroes for more than 2 decades, and we ask you to join us on our mission to do good.
Popeyes has the best of both wings. Our juicy chicken is marinated to perfection with 2 distinct twists on all 6 flavors. Whether you prefer our spicy bone-in wings or our classic tender white meat boneless wings, we've got the best of both.
This summer, live life the way you want with comfort and style that's truly untucked. At Untuck It, we create the perfect fitting casual styles from head to toe for every body. And yes, we've got styles for her too. We believe everyone should get to look and feel their best because life's moments are better lived untucked. Untuck It. Visit untuckit.com or more than 80 stores worldwide.
This is the GMC Sierra, powered by the TurboMax engine, with the confidence of 430 pound-feet of best-in-class standard torque. GMC Sierra, it's the truck. Get 1.9% APR on select 2024 Sierra 1500 models, or current eligible GMC owners get over $7,800 total value. We are professional grade GMC.
What is going on? You won the lottery. Now anyone that kills you before sundown gets your money. Legally. That's murder. Not in California.
If people can't recognize you, you're safer.
Hey, girl, hey.
Why? What? Too sexy?
Jackpot. Rated R. August 15th. Only on Prime.
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. This look at tonight's starters is brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. Lefty Tyler Anderson gets the ball for the Halos, and Nestor Cortez will tow it up for the Bombers. Cortez pitched against the Angels back in May out in Anaheim. Went into the 6th inning in that one and got a no decision in a Yankees loss. He is pitching better at home this season, going 4-4 in the Bronx with a 2.48 ERA in 11 starts, as opposed to a 1-5 record on the road with an ERA over 6 in 12 outings. Coverage begins tonight on Yes at 6 o'clock with batting practice takeover with Meredith Marakovitz, followed by the pregame and first pitch is scheduled for a little after 7. It's the Yankees and Angels tonight. Coverage starting at 6 right here on Yes and streaming, of course, on the Yes app.
Just avoided what would have been a massive upset. They beat Serbia. Big shot by Durant and 2 big free throws by Steph Curry. So the USA wins by 4 points. They made up all of that ground in the fourth quarter, and they are breathing a sigh of relief. Now, you listen, there are no style points. You just move on to the gold medal game. But that was scary against a Serbia team that has 2 NBA players, and I'm sorry, the USA has all NBA players and NBA greats, so that was close.
That would have been something, but it didn't happen, and they were the better team down the stretch. The threes weren't falling for Serbia. They hung in there as best as they could, but you're right, that Durant fadeaway from 3 and then Curry draining those free throws down the stretch.
He finished with 36 points, by the way. 36 points. So a huge game for Curry. This is his first Olympics, and at his age could be the last Olympics he plays in, and that was big. Wow. This team is great, but they were certainly challenged. They were challenged by Serbia, and now they'll be playing for the gold medal.
Boy, that was something out of nowhere, right? You do a talk show, you prepare for stuff, and then that all of a sudden became a major talking point. Sitting there in the afternoon, a game that were their 15.5-point favorite, and they almost lost.
Hey, Leonard Skinner is coming to Northwell at Jones Beach Theater on Thursday, August 22nd, and ESPN New York has your chance to score tickets. Enter to win through the contest tile on the ESPN New York app. It's brought to you by Mi Campo, the official tequila of Northwell at Jones Beach Theater and ESPN New York. Because the only rule of live shows is to have an unapologetically good time. Mi Campo, live louder. Well, let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Ira in Staten Island. Ira, what do you got?
Hey, Michael Dunn, what's happening? And first of all, I couldn't say enough about Marty Lyons, and you both know him very well. I got to know him well over the years. And I just hope, for his sake, that he went out on his own terms, because he's too good of a human being if it didn't work out that way. And I know the way it looks, Michael. I'm kind of thinking the way you are. But, the fact is, unfortunately, it's going to be a new sound and different dial. And maybe they wanted just a new sound. But it's just, like I said, Marty, I just hope he went on his own. Listen, if he's still in the same location where he lives, I understand it. 4 night games out of 8. You're getting home at 3 o'clock in the morning. You're not 25 years old anymore. But he's a Jet, always will be a Jet. And hopefully, I know they gave him some type of ambassador type of title or something. I just hope they keep him heavily involved with the organization, because the Jets need Marty Lyons.
Well, we agree with you, Ira, and we thank you for the phone call. And I'm going to tell you this. All we can go is by what we know. And Don spoke to Marty privately, and that's what Marty told Don. But I'm going to tell you right now, make a promise. If we find out otherwise, we got some things to say. Now, teams have the right to change their broadcasters. But usually with time, you kind of get emeritus status or like a tenured professor. It's hard to move those people out. So, again, we only have to go by what Marty said. And he said he wasn't pushed. But if he was pushed, I got some things to say. But I'm not going to say them until we know for sure.
Yeah, and Marty, you told me it's about family. Now, you're right. He lives way out on Long Island, but he's still going to go to a lot of the home games with the ambassador role. But it's a long day. I mean, and even though football travels a lot easier than the other sports, you leave on a Saturday. If they're playing, Seattle or the West Coast, you might play on a Friday, and you're gone for a couple of days. And I know Marty's close to his family. One of the things we were talking is he's visiting his son in Alabama, so you're driving down there. So he's close to his family. So he says he wants to do that, and I'm obviously going to take him at his word. But you're right, Michael. If we find out otherwise, it certainly would not look good.
One thing that doesn't look good that we do know, and he said it. Now he doesn't want to make waves with the Jets for sure. No contact from Woody Johnson. Really?
I haven't spoke to him in a year.
Really, Woody? Really?
That's interesting to me. He hadn't spoken to him in a year. That means they didn't speak at all like last season. I mean, when I worked there, I would see Woody Johnson a couple of times a year. He'd come to the broadcast. So I wouldn't say I had any kind of relationship with him, Michael, but he would sometimes come and you'd say hello to Greg and myself. And there was even one time where when we would do the pregame way out in the parking lot, Greg, because he knows how to swing it around, would get a golf cart to take us into the stadium. And one time Woody jumped on the golf cart, so he's always, so that just, I found that very interesting that he didn't reach out, hasn't talked to him in a year. That's not great. And I don't care how busy you are. He's not an ambassador anymore. He's here. I mean, he's not putting together game plans. He's not structuring training camp. So, and I know he tweeted something very nice, but that tweeting, Michael, that's...
No, you got to call the guy. And as I said, when, right after Marty was on, when John Sterling suddenly walked away, the Steinbrenner family went into overdrive and put together a ceremony within days. I'm sorry, you gotta call the guy. Forget about 22 years on the radio, Don. 45 years of his life.
Well, I just think it's tone deaf in the sense that you have to realize what's important to your fans. And just judging by social media and talking to the people that I personally know that are Jet fans, this is a pretty significant day. And so I would think you'd want to get out front more than just a tweet that you'd want to reach out to Marty or something. But whatever. I mean, Marty didn't seem like he still said he had a ton of respect for Woody. So I think it's important to honor that. But he did say he hadn't spoken to him. So that was a fact.
So USA wins over Serbia, and a big sequence in the fourth quarter. Durant hit a three. Then USA retained possession on a foul. And then Booker, who didn't play the first game, by the way, but now is part of the rotation, he hit a three. So that's a 6-point possession, and that was huge. They cut the lead from 11 to 5, and they took over from there. And then, as the vice tightened and the pressure became higher, all of a sudden the shots weren't falling for Serbia, and they ended up losing the game. But a spirited try at shocking the world, but they don't get it done. USA, with its great talent, came through in big moments, and they win, so a big win for the USA, but again, a sigh of relief. Yankees-Angels tonight at the stadium, final game, rubber game of this 3-game set. And we have tonight's Yankees starting lineup on ESPN New York. It's brought to you by Bigelow Tea. A little bit of a different lineup. You have Gleyber Torres leading off, playing second. Soto and right. Batting second, hitting third is the center fielder Aaron Judge. Giancarlo Stanton will DH. He's going to bat cleanup. Batting fifth and catching Austin Wells. Anthony Volpe at shortstop is going to bat sixth. Batting seventh and playing third base, Jazz Chisholm Jr., DJ LeMahieu at first base will bat eighth, and batting ninth and playing left field, it is Alex Verdugo. That's tonight's Yankees starting lineup, brought to you by Bigelow Tea. Bigelow Tea is a proud supporter of the Michael K. Show, the official hot tea of the New York Yankees. It was Tatum that didn't play game one, and he didn't play today either. It was Booker. Booker actually hit the shot. So Tatum, again, must be red hot. Imagine, going to Paris. Not that going to Paris is awful, but you're on Team USA and you're not getting any run. That's tough. So a friend of mine corrected me. It was Booker who hit the shot, not Tatum. Tatum didn't play today. I wonder, Don, you know how vindictive I am, right?
Oh, yeah.
So do you believe that people that weren't chosen for the team, particularly one certain Boston Celtic, was rooting for the loss?
Oh, That's interesting.
Now, you'd be rooting against your country, but you weren't chosen. Jaylen Brown we're talking about. When a spot opened up and they took your teammate, are you rooting against them? Now, knowing how vindictive as I am, I'd be leaning toward rooting against them.
Yeah, but again, you'd be rooting against guys that you know, guys that you're friends with.
Well, that wouldn't. The only thing that would give me pause is rooting against my country. But I don't care. I'm rooting against the guys I know. Good. I'm sure they were in on not choosing him.
But even rooting against your country, like, did you find yourself, like, wanting to see the upset just because it would be so historic? Like, does that make you a bad American if you were like, this would be one heck of a story to say that I saw Serbia upset the U.S.? I mean, I don't judge my love of country based on how many medals we have.
Well,
I mean,
that's a good point. But I mean, I wanted the United States to win. But obviously, if they lose, then we have a talking point that we're probably going to run right through until 6:30. But I wanted the USA to win.
Yeah, at the end of the day, for sure. But there was a part of me that was like, this could be a really interesting story. Because again, you're not going to root against your country when these are people that it's all about the medal. I'm sorry. When you have professionals playing in the Olympics in this capacity, I know they want to win the gold medal, but they're not putting it ahead of an NBA title. You know, this is going to be a footnote in LeBron James's career. But if he didn't Serbia, this would be a national holiday.
No. If he wins a gold, it would be a footnote. If he loses, it would not be a footnote. Because as Alan Hahn said, if Serbia won, this would be bigger than an NBA title for Jokic.
Well, yeah, for sure. For the European players, it always seems like the gold medal is bigger than. Because representing your country is so important. Like even Ovechkin, how important it was for him to be able to play in the Olympics representing his country. So, I mean, that's ultimately what you kind of look at. But getting back to your point, I mean, does he want to see his teammate lose?
Yeah, again, it's according to how you're built. The way I'm built, I'd want them to lose. But I'm built in a very flawed manner.
Well, and you've been at least consistent with that opinion.
I hate to be insulted. I hate to be put in a situation where I've been slighted when I don't think I deserve it. And, you know, obviously this is a player that's great. Jaylen Brown's great, and he got overlooked. And he thinks he got overlooked because of the shoe that he wears, which would be awful, too. I think he was rooting for them to lose. Personally. He'll probably say publicly.
Oh, he would never say it publicly.
He would never say it publicly, but he's sitting there going, let's go, Serbia. Anyway, we got a lot to do. We got a lot to do, Don. We only have an hour and a half to do it. So let's get it done. Let's get it done right here on Yes and on ESPN New York.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Bigelow Tea, who encourages you to grab a mug and tea proudly.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
At Domino's, we know there's a lot of pressure to tip these days. Everywhere you go, there's a tip screen.
Great set, bro. Now take a look at this screen real quick. Okay. And do you, Michael, want to answer one more question?
At a time when tipping can feel thankless, Domino's wants to say,
thanks for the tip.
By tipping you back. Tip your Domino's driver $3 or more online and we'll tip you $3 to use on next week's order. Only in Domino's.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay and how fast you can get started.
And Doug.
And if we win, we get to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Isn't that what you just did?
Service!
Stand back, I'm gonna show ya how Doug and Lee roll ya. You know you gotta live it if you wanna win.
Time out.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When your health is on the line, it matters that Greenwich Hospital has over 1,000 physicians, plus access to hundreds of specialty programs affiliated with Yale School of Medicine. It matters that we offer groundbreaking cancer treatment options right here through Smilow Cancer Hospital and Yale Cancer Center, and that we provide state-of-the-art care for strokes and heart issues. Because having access to the very best is what matters most. Greenwich Hospital, with the greatest of care.
Smile, you found it. The feeling of finding psoriasis can't filter out the real you. So go ahead, live unfiltered with the one and only Sotyktu, a once-daily pill for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis and the chance at clear or almost clear skin. It's like the feeling of finding you're so ready for your close-up, or finding you don't have to hide your skin, just your background. Once daily Sotyktu was proven better, getting more people clearer skin than the leading pill. Don't take if you're allergic to Sotyktu. Serious reactions can occur. Sotyktu can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB. Serious infections, cancers including lymphoma, muscle problems, and changes in certain labs have occurred. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, liver or kidney problems, high triglycerides, or had a vaccine or plan to. Sotyktu is a TYK2 inhibitor. TYK2 is part of the JAK family. It's not known if Sotyktu has the same risks as JAK inhibitors. Find what plaque psoriasis has been hiding. There's only one Sotyktu, so ask for it by name. So clearly you. Sotyktu.
At 10:50 a.m. So you have to reset your preset. And you also must download the ESPN New York app. And Don, a milestone moment for us at ESPN, 100,000 downloads of this free app. And that is huge because, you know, with electric cars not having AM radio, it's important for those people that have electric cars, a lot of people have electric cars, to actually have a way to consume us, and the only way to do that if you have an electric car is to do it with the ESPN New York app. So 100,000 people, we're quite proud of that. We want to continue to have people download it, but for the 100,000 people, Don, that's pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, it is very, very cool, and I think more and more people will download it once we move on to 1050, because there are people, as you said, that don't have AM or can't get it. So they can do it. And again, with the Bluetooth in your car, it's really easy. I know, and listen, we talk about the apps on television and everything else, that sometimes it could be inconvenient from a television standpoint, but from a radio standpoint, Michael, as soon as you touch it, bang, you're on. You're listening to whatever's live at that moment. Go through the Bluetooth and you listen, and if you get a phone call, you get a phone call, and you pick it up. It doesn't interrupt anything. It is a real easy way. And with the tiles, you can listen to different podcasts, like my Game Misconduct podcast, or you can listen to the podcast from previous shows.
Yep, that's
and
easy.
you can also listen to the Knicks and the Rangers right there. Click the Rangers, click the Knicks, and be able to listen to it there as well. Because there was a time where these games, you wouldn't be able to stream them, especially the NBA ones. That it's a different time now. So get with the program. I know I mentioned this yesterday. Sometimes when you're the first to kind of do these things, you're kind of out there on your own. But I really think this is where we're really headed. So we're kind of the first to venture out there in this way. But I think there's going to be a lot of other places joining us, and we're going to be the first to kind of do it.
All right, so we want you to reset your preset, and now we want to do a reset on the whole day. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We opened up talking about the Mets with a big win yesterday, and the Mets are leading right now, Don. Is it final yet?
No, 7-1 top of the seventh.
All right, so 7-1 over the Rockies. And you know what? You got to go into Colorado, and you have to take 2 or 3, and it looks like they are doing that. So they lost 2 or 3 to the Angels. They won that big game against the Cardinals. So 2 out of 3. So let's do the math here. That's 2, 3, 4. They are 4-3. in the first 7 games, and they have 3 games then against the. So the worst they can do if they lose 2 out of 3 is 5-5, which we said would be okay. You remove this tough road trip and you go 5-5, and you kind of tread water. Helping them out a bit is that the Atlanta Braves continue to lose. They got hammered today. So if the Mets hold up, the Braves get hammered, then the Mets are now in the 3rd wild card spot. That's good. And then they have the 3 games against Seattle. Now, if you could win 2 out of 3, Don, all of a sudden you went 6-4 on what could have been an awful road trip, and you sign up for that immediately.
I think you'd absolutely. When I went in, I'd say, all right, I'll take 5-5, 6-4, and then when you see that you drop 2 out of 3 to the Angels and you lose the first game to the Rockies, if they're able to do that, and this would be a 2nd consecutive win, and you're right, Braves already lost today, so the Mets would be in the 3rd wild card spot. So that's pretty big. And now the Braves, very quietly, Michael, they've lost 5 in a row. Pretty banged up. They were slaughtered in Milwaukee. So we'll see. Maybe the Braves are in free fall. Maybe this is the best avenue in which the Mets can make it, because Arizona's been hot, although Arizona's got Philadelphia coming up, who's kind of come back down to earth a bit. And the Padres, I believe they came back and won their game.
But Philadelphia did beat up on the Dodgers, so.
Right. But San Diego did come back and beat the Bucks 7-6.
Yeah.
So, but God, 16-7 was the final score. Milwaukee with their win. So the Mets, they'll go on to Seattle, and that's not an impossible place for them to win, but certainly the Mariners were the toughest of the teams that were going to play on this road trip. Atlanta now goes into Colorado to take on the Rockies. So if they don't right their ship in Colorado, then maybe the Braves are in real major trouble. So we'll see. Should be fun.
Now, one thing I take from Milwaukee's season, Milwaukee's having an unbelievable season, and it's a positive for the Mets. That thing was built by David Stearns without money. All right, so that's a real small market, and he put together that team. So they lose their manager, Craig Counsell, and Counsell gets $8 million a year from the Cubs, and the Cubs have been dreadful. And I wonder if the Cubs have buyer's remorse. They could have kept David Ross. They're almost in the playoffs last year, and they added players. And they're getting waxed this year. I think that Pat Murphy is the manager of the year in the National League. So I look at that and say that bodes well for the Mets, because it was David Stearns who essentially built that team, and that's something that's positive for the Mets. And because now he brings over the way to build a team, and he's got a lot of money to do it. Yeah. So that's a positive.
And we've looked at the Mets as kind of in a little bit of a downward spiral here. But if they win today, I think they're 12-8 since the All-Star break. So even though they're not hitting with the same efficacy they were before the All-Star break, they're still winning the lion's share of their games. They're still playing above 500. They're still going to stay in this thing. And the schedule does get a little bit easier post-Seattle, where they get to come home, take on the A's and the Marlins before they have to take on an Oriole team to close out that. And then they got to go back out west again, where they really can make some hay against the Padres, against the Diamondbacks, to catch up to the teams that they're chasing after in the wild card. So tough schedule, but if they can find a way to finish above 500 in this 10-game road trip, Michael,
that's a win.
That bodes well for at least the gumption this team is going to have the rest of the way.
Now, the Yankees split a doubleheader yesterday, and they were victimized. They were hurt by the rain out on Tuesday, whether you want to believe it or not, because that forced them to insert Will Warren to start the second game, because Louis Seal's not going to start on short rest, so you needed a 6th starter, and you insert Will Warren in there, and Warren gave up a grand slam to Zach Neto, and Neto had 6 RBIs, 8 RBIs in the doubleheader. Yeah. He's a really, really good player. And now they have the rubber game tonight, weather permitting. Tyler Anderson's a pretty good pitcher for the Angels. He's 8-10, but he has a 3.05 ERA. Nestor Cortez has been struggling. He's 5-9 with a 4.16, but Nestor with an ERA of 2.48 at home, 6.08 on the road. So that's big, and we'll keep an eye on that. As of this point, that game still expecting to be played, because the Angels don't want to have to fly back here in September to make up that game. We also told you Jalen Brunson officially named captain. Great press conference on the floor of the Garden. Q&A by our guy, Alan Hahn. Great answers by Jalen Brunson. And you could hear the interview that we had with Alan. You could hear the interview that we had with Marty Lyons, all on the ESPN New York app and on the podcast. And then we, right at the end of the 4 o'clock hour, the USA escapes one of the biggest upsets in Olympic history by coming back and beating Serbia. What was it, by 4 or by 5? It was 4. And that was after trailing by 13 at the start of the fourth quarter. So all the stars are aligning for the USA to win the gold that everybody expects. But, Don, that was a hold-your-breath moment there. The USA would have been really mortified and embarrassed if they lost that game.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was the pressure or the legs, but the threes that were falling the first three quarters just were not falling for Serbia in the fourth. And then once this great team the USA has with all these amazing players, they smell blood. They just took over. I thought LeBron James had a great fourth quarter.
Triple-double he had.
Hitting shots. Durant had that fadeaway three-pointer. They were grabbing rebounds. So, again, I don't know if it was the pressure of the moment or just the exhaustion of launching these threes all game, but big fourth quarter for them. And you could just – and the thing I like about it, Michael, it's so easy to just be kind of passé about it. You know, a lot of these guys have won gold medals before. They're the overwhelming favorites. But you could really see not just a sigh of relief, but genuine excitement from winning this game and being so close to winning the gold medal. So as much as I don't love the professionals playing at this level, to see them take it seriously and enjoy the moment is pretty cool.
Now, I'm going to say something that might shock you, Don.
Go ahead.
So, you know, my family has watched the Olympics the last 4 or 5 days, and they're all into it. Now, yesterday I didn't watch because I had a doubleheader to do. But the day before, when the game was rained out and I got home at about 8:30, we're watching it, and Jody turns to me, and you know me, Don. You've known me forever. I'm one of the most shallow human beings of all time. And Jody turns to me, and she said, look at these athletes. They're all beautiful, women and men. It's almost like they're AI generated. Take a look at the people that are performing. I mean, that's one of the reasons I think it's been such an unbelievable television event. These are beautiful people. There was I think she was an archer from China, and she had a bullseye. She's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. And the men, I mean, Noah Lyles, who competed today in the 200, and he competed with COVID. Ended up getting the bronze. These are people that, I mean, they walk down the street, you'd stop and just your jaw would drop. I've never seen a collection of Olympic, I've never seen a collection of this many people that are this beautiful and gorgeous. It's amazing.
I didn't look at it that way, although I agree with you. But and also, we're making more of an effort with the outfits, right? Like I was watching the gymnastics because my daughter was into it, and you know it's not the USA colors, although they're stars and you see USA on it, but they're like really attractive. Like back in the day, they just throw some kind of red, white, and blue thing on USA, but I just think that they really have done a great job of making it aesthetically pleasing for, because the most, I would think the overwhelming majority of people watching aren't diehard sports fans.
Right.
Because people get caught up in the stories and it's a moment and they get patriotic and all that, but NBC does a terrific job. They spend a ton of money for it, but they've really done a great job of covering everything in every angle and finding the stories and finding the little things that kind of keep you interested. Even though for me, I don't find a lot of these sports interesting. I'm not usually watching gymnastics or swimming or archery or track and field on a normal basis, but they do a good job selling.
Speaking of outfits, Don, have you been able to at all consume any women's beach volleyball?
I have not.
Oh, I mean, even Charlie said, Dad, why are you not wearing anything? I mean, we're talking, like the most skimpy bathing suits that you'd ever see. It's unbelievable. I don't know how they play.
And all I know is I heard this on the morning show. It's the first time ever we will not medal in beach volleyball. So
well, maybe the outfits are inhibiting them. I mean, really, it's like floss back there. I don't know how that was signed off on. And it's not just USA; it's everybody. Everybody.
There must be some kind of competitive advantage to it, I guess.
I don't think so. And then, my favorite, the one that I think is going to be the breakout star of the Olympics is Gabby Thomas, who's one of the most beautiful women you'll ever see, a master's degree from Harvard, and she happens to be one incredible athlete. So I wonder if we're living in like a generated universe where it is, AI. Because again, what are the odds that so many of these Olympians are this great looking? I don't know. Just a thought.
I don't know either. I don't know. Did we grow up at a time where when we were watching the Olympics, and I used to watch every second when I was a kid. I don't know how you were.
Yeah, I watched a lot.
The first I remember was the '76 Olympics in Montreal with Bruce Jenner, and it was just something. You didn't have a lot of options back in the '70s, so one of the 3 networks that you were able to watch was committed to the Olympics, so you watched it. But I think now, because these things go viral and they probably make more of an effort to look attractive, I guess, right? I mean, back in the day, they probably didn't even put any thought into it.
Yeah, I mean, the women that are running, they're wearing, a lot of makeup, and their hair looks great. And again, I'm not objectifying it, because the men, the women, maybe it is an AI generated thing. We're living in like a creation. Well, what do they call that when you're living in like the Matrix or whatever? I don't know, but my mind is wandering.
So you're saying what we're seeing is not real?
Maybe we're not real. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this is all just like somebody's like video game that we're in.
Well, now that you're in this mode, have you ever seen The Matrix?
No.
Maybe you should.
Why?
Because I think that you would find some clarity, because this is what you're kind of talking about here. No, I'm serious. Like, what you're saying is that if you watch The Matrix, everything that you're saying right now will actually make sense.
Yeah, my producer at Yes gave me the word. We're in some sort of simulation. We are. Somebody's simulation. They simulated this whole thing, and now they've given us an Olympics where everybody is like a model, men and women.
This is really deep.
Oh, we go deep here, Don.
Well, I just remember, because I'll give you some evidence. Now, I'm sure there's some scientist that can call to tell me that, but so all these planets are perfect circles? Right?
It all doesn't make much sense.
I don't know. There's probably some reason for it, but did you ever think really that's...
Yeah, why can't we have a triangle planet?
Yeah, no jagged edges. There's just some kind of Jupiter just can't be some kind of wacky rock. It's got, and then Saturn's got these perfectly formed. It's almost as if they designed it.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
In a simulation.
This is, you're dancing really close to
the sun.
A big Pandora's box that if we opened it up, I don't know, we might not be able to close it.
Sure, a lot of people think this stuff.
Oh, you kidding? Have you been on social media?
Well, I try to stay away.
Well, I'm just saying that, listen, any theory, you'll get a following.
So I'm going with simulation. Let's go to Phil and Patchogue. Phil, talk to us.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
How are you?
I'm kind of leaning what Don is saying about the basketball team. We put together a basketball team who, I don't know, it's the cockiness or this and that they put together a team without practicing and put together a team to win the gold medal with where the other parts of the world are putting a team together to beat us. And that's where I lose a little bit of my, I don't know what to say, my feeling for the United States.
Yeah, but I mean, Canada put together the same sort of team, right? Phil?
My mind. I'm sorry?
But didn't Canada put together, they didn't get the practice together? I mean, R.J. Barrett wasn't practicing all year.
Yeah, but do you see that in our team, though? We said we could just put together a team and let's go, and we're going to win no matter what. I mean, it's kind of...
I know. I completely understand what you're saying. I thought the same thing, with hockey, too. When you're taking professionals and you're putting them together, is that in the spirit of what the Olympics are supposed to be about?
I don't think it's in the spirit, Don, but when we only sent collegians, right?
Right.
Other countries were playing professionals, so that's why we did this. I preferred when it was college kids.
Exactly.
But you couldn't even do that anymore. The best college kids last a year. You couldn't even put it together.
Absolutely, and again, it's not. I'm not against it, because you're right. I mean, one of the reasons why the '80 Olympic team was such a big deal. I'm sorry, the USSR, that Soviet team, they were professionals. They were paid to play hockey. It was under the guise of that they were in the military, but they played and they spent all their time preparing for hockey. And a bunch of college kids beat them, and that made a great story. So, but for the reason that was a great story, Michael, we were in a Cold War with the U.S., but part of it was because we weren't supposed to win, and we won. So when I'm watching the game today, isn't the better story from a sports perspective that Serbia upsets the United States?
Yes, the better story would be the upset.
Right. Now, again, we're patriotic, but again, I just look, when I'm watching, if it's any other event that's not about patriotism, and there's a 15.5-point dog that's got a chance to win, wouldn't you, as somebody that didn't necessarily have a dog in the fight, would be rooting for Serbia? Now, the dog in the fight we have, it's Team USA, but boy, I think it would have meant more to Serbia to win. The United States celebrated that victory because they didn't lose, because the loss would have probably been way worse than winning the gold medal.
Well, I think the people that celebrated the most on, in my opinion, would be NBC. Because they don't need the U.S. men's basketball team, which is a great ratings grabber, to all of a sudden be eliminated before the gold medal game.
But you know what would have happened if this were 1984 instead of 2024? Is that been radio silence, and NBC would have aired that in primetime on tape delay, like
they still
did
might.
Yeah, but yeah, that's why the ratings are great. But they probably weren't happy that it happened on the Thursday afternoon. But that's to come with the time difference. But hey, it was captivating television for sure.
Let's go to Richard in Manhattan. Richard, talk to us.
Fellas, in 1976, the U.S. basketball team with all these All-Americans from North Carolina, Indiana, all over the country. And, you know, they had their noses up in the air. They beat Puerto Rico by 1, 94-93. Kid from the Bronx, Butch Lee, led Puerto Rico. Oh, was I rooting for Puerto Rico in that game. Hey, listen, 1050 HN, WHN, 60 years ago. I don't know about resetting, but I'm coming full circle. I used to listen to the Ranger and Met games on WHN 1050. Fellas, did you think about how ironic it would have been if the U.S. lost today on the day Jalen Brunson becomes captain and was not selected to the U.S. team? That would have been karma you could not believe, right, fellas?
Right. It just didn't. He didn't get any chance to be on the team.
That's
right.
When
guys were dropping out.
That's right. You guys talked about Anthony Beck. He is great. This guy, Don, I don't know if you remembered the name, Sam DeLuca. Sam did the games with Merle Harmon in the 60s with the Jets. He was a former Jet player just like Anthony Beck. Anthony Beck sounds just like Sam DeLuca. He's good. He's very good. You guys mentioned Phil Simms. Phil Simms will stay young. He's my age, 69. He will be young the rest of his life. He's got kids, and then he'll have grandkids who'll play pro football. This guy will never get old. So I miss Sims, I miss John Sterling, I miss Van Gundy, and I miss Mark Jackson. And you guys mentioned Patrick Ewing. Ewing is the greatest ever four-year college player. His first game against Howard and his last game against Villanova in the upset. He brought college basketball to where it was in the 80s, 90s, and 2000. He is, in my opinion, the single most important basketball player in the history of college play because he brought
well, you're saying 4 years, so you're not including Lou Alcindor, who played
on. Of course not, or Bill Russell, no, or Bill Walton. Of course not, Don. Michael,
because
all 4-year players from day one. And the greatest college football player who also had a great career from day one in college to his final game, and he won a championship for a small school, was Tony Dorsett. And I remember his first game against Notre Dame as a punt return, kick returner, and he was great till his last game.
What about Archie Griffin?
One thing, and we thank you for the Pittsburgh's not exactly a small school.
No.
I mean, it's not a football factory. It's not a small school. Small school is like Bethune-Cookman. That's a small school.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's not the little engine that could. I mean, Dan Marino played in Pittsburgh.
Listen, I'm sure Peter would disagree, but would you throw Christian Laettner up there too?
Yeah.
But Ewing, he was, well, that's why DeBusschere was jumping on the table when the Knicks got the first overall pick. But
and I'll take Michael Jordan's 3 years over a lot of guys' 4. 1-800-919-3776. That's the number. More of your phone calls, more stuff to talk about right here on Yes and ESPN New York.
Let's explore your future with Udemy. You can learn how to program and build websites, study design and create logos, improve your presentation skills, and sell your ideas. With Udemy, you can learn practical skills from thousands of online courses taught by real-world experts. Explore your future. Udemy.
Here's something every parent, human parent, squirrel parent, can relate to. Time goes by fast. So the sooner you start investing for your child's future, the better. Acorns is how you do it. Ta-da! Look at that. Beautiful. Download Acorns right now and invest in your babies and your baby's baby. Acorns. Grow your oak.
Want to get juicy? Sip on this super fresh and tasty blend of ripe strawberry and crisp lemon that's so bold. It just asks for your number. That's right. It's time to love soda again.
I love my fruit to the root. I love my fruit, they a wonderful treat. I love my fruit, they so juicy and sweet. I love my fruit, every flavor and taste. I love my fruit, every color and shape. I love my fruit to the root. Fruits in my smoothies, mango so groovy. Melons and limes, sometimes I get choosy. Bananas for breakfast, blueberries for brunch. Pineapples for dinner, fruit salad for lunch. Even though oranges don't rhyme, they don't. I'm still gonna eat them, they mine. I love my fruit, every flavor and taste. I love my fruit, every color and shape.
Big season. More reasons to say yes. Yes to scoring swag and gift cards with Yes Rewards.
What a home run for Soto.
Watch, play, earn. Yes Rewards. Check it out now on the Yes app.
It's Aaron Judge. Yeah.
Sometimes you get the feeling you're watching a Hall of Famer right in the middle of his prime.
The captain is rolling.
They're going to need a longer tape measure.
A monster blast. See ya. Wow.
We've got to be here. We've got to be strong to protect those rights.
For over 100 years, the ACLU has fought for everyone to have a voice and equal justice. And we will never stop. Because we, the people, means all of us. To learn more about defending our democracy, go to myaclu.org today.
Listen, I spotted it from the start. Breaking didn't even have a name yet. Bunch of kids from the South Bronx who didn't just knock on the door, they kicked it down. And today, it's your time. It's all about spotting it early. And if you do, no victory is out of reach.
The Make It Ford Summer Sales Event is on. So make it your best summer ever with Ford. Get your ideal combination of power and capability. And experience hands-free highway driving technology with Ford Blue Cruise, available on select vehicles. It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event, so make it yours. Make it now. Returning lessees can now lease a Ford Explorer for just $319 a month for 24 months, only at your local Ford stores.
Popeyes has the best of both wings. Our juicy chicken is marinated to perfection with 2 distinct twists on all 6 flavors. Whether you prefer our spicy bone-in wings or our classic tender white meat boneless wings, we've got the best of both.
Does RexMD really work? Over 85% of patients said not only does it work, they saw results the very first night. Get started today with a 3-month trial pack if appropriate at tryrexmd.com.
Hey, so I found a betting system that's really working great for me.
So did I. What's yours?
I set up an hour-a-week time limit on FanDuel. I can also set up wager limits, so I only bet what I can afford, and betting stays fun.
Right.
So what's your system?
What's that?
Your system. What's your system? What is that?
Every bettor has a system. Make FanDuel's responsible gaming tools a key part of yours.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your life, your career, and everything in between that we've uncovered. They're all centered on numbers. Some of the numbers might be familiar to you, but they all add up to tell your story.
The Story of My Number, presented by the New York Lottery. Streaming now exclusively on the Yes app.
Well, the ESPN New York app, we mentioned this, has just passed 100,000 downloads, and it's all thanks to our fans for getting us to this milestone. And remember, you download it, it's free. How many things in life are free? Now, if you haven't heard, you can catch up on daily recap podcasts from your favorite shows, plus streaming exclusives like Flight Deck and Breaking Big Blue. Join the 100K and download it now on the App Store and Google Play. Your city, your teams, your ESPN New York. Now, Peter Rosenberg is on vacation, and it's well-earned vacation, Don. Just as when you were on vacation, I don't knock anybody for taking vacation. I take my share.
Right,
but
sure.
the one thing about Peter, I wonder if you've noticed this, he doesn't know how to turn it off. He's like tweeting out these deep observations about the world. Can't you just relax on a beach and shut it off?
Well, that's what I did. I mean, I wasn't on a beach, but I didn't. To me, part of being on social media is like my job. You know, so why would I want to tweet?
He just never stops.
No, he just, listen, he hungers for that attention.
Wow. Like, if I'm on vacation, I might tweet out pictures of my kids, but I'm not going to talk about, the wisdom of free agency in the NFL. I mean, like, he's going that deep on stuff. I mean, shut the brain off, Pete. Shut it off.
Or it'll shut off for you, and you don't want that.
Dave in Virginia. David.
Hey, fellas. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thanks for making it.
A couple of things. I find it very ethnocentric to think that our USA basketball team should just be able to roll out a ball and dominate teams. We know that everyone says that the original Dream Team is by far and away the best team, but Nikola Jokic is the best player on the basketball court. Our original Dream Team really only had to go through Tony Kukoc when you think about it. And then the other thing that I want to say is, and I'm not sure if you watched the game or not, but in preparation for France, Steve Kerr needs to lose the over and drop ball screen coverage. We should have been either hard hedging or flat out blitzing ball screens today, because even though we'd be giving up on the backside of the floor 2 passes away, we still have the length to close out. Drop coverage is just absolutely killing us in these Olympics. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, you know, it's funny, Dave. I don't think that the U.S., even when they were trailing, I don't think that they played that poorly. It's just that Serbia played really well. And then the shots stopped falling for Serbia, and the USA tightened up everything and hit big shots. And, you know, obviously a big shot by Durant, by Booker, the free throws by Steph Curry, who had an unbelievable game, 36 points. So I don't know if they had to change that much. They should be able to beat France.
Yeah, and, you know, I understand what he's talking about, that, hey, they've got a couple or three NBA players. It's not like it was back in the Dream Team where, like Tony Kukoc was the only guy they had to go through. You're talking about the semifinals, and you're a 15.5-point favorite. So, yeah, maybe it's a little bit more competitive, but still, they should win these games. But you're right, it's basketball. Basketball is the one sport where things can happen to create upsets. But like you said, we said it when they were down. The U.S. is not playing poorly. They're shooting 50% from the field. It's just the Serbia was out of their minds, and then they came back down to earth in the fourth quarter.
Lamonte in Jersey City. It's either Lamonte or Lamont. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it.
It's Lamont. How you doing, Dave? Don, thank you for the call.
What's up, my friend?
Hey, listen, I was listening to yo was talking about how the women and the men and everybody looking different out there in France and in Paris, during the Olympics. And I was thinking, yeah, maybe it might not be the matrix, maybe it's like filters, right? I was saying they filter stuff to make you look, better and stuff. But then I thought about it, I said, these are people from other countries, man. They eat better, the water is better, the air is better. It could be that, because I was in Aruba and everybody just looked pure, no makeup on and everything. Everybody just looked beautiful out there.
Yeah, but you know what? I understand what you're saying, Lamont, but I mean, this is the most beautiful USA team, both men and women, that I've ever seen. So we don't eat well here. And so I understand about the other countries. But even if you watch past Olympics, and we thank you for the phone call, never before have there been people that look like this. So it's like they were designed for perfection. Obviously, their bodies are in great shape. They have beautiful faces. I mean, this is men and women. Again, AI. It's AI. We're all in a simulation. We're all in a simulation. Because I don't look that good, Don. You don't look that good. No, and it's not filters by NBC. They don't put filter. I mean, if it was like still photos, maybe they don't put filters on TV like that.
All right, here's the controversial thing. You want some controversy?
Yes.
You want a hot take?
Yeah.
I just think people are more attractive than they were back in the day. Yeah, there were a few really attractive people, but you really look at what we quote unquote hot people from back in the day compared to now, very pedestrian. I think that. As much as we get killed for being obese and all that, I think we're a little bit more conscious. I think we've gotten a little bit away from makeup. We don't cake on makeup anymore. Even the most attractive women have makeup caked all over them. And you look at the women back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, even the attractive ones, a lot of eyeliner, a lot of thick eyelashes. I think they relied way too much on makeup. I think we are more naturally attractive here in the 21st century than we were 20, 30, 40 years ago. And you look at the average talk show host back in the day, I think we're way more attractive than they are back in the 40s and 50s and 60s.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I agree with you. Ava Gardner would have been beautiful in any world.
No, but there's always exceptions to every rule. But how many times did we say that we would look at a sitcom, a TV like Ed Asner at 45, looked like he was a 65-year-old man during the Mary Tyler Moore?
Wilford Brimley,
exactly. And now you're seeing guys that are in their, deep into their 50s. Brad Pitt, George Clooney. These are people that are north of 50 years old. That when you were like in your 50s back 30, 40 years ago, Michael, you were an old man. You played an old man.
And look at Hugh Jackman in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
guy looks unbelievable. But
right.
I don't know if it's about the make, because I'm watching the water polo right now, women's water polo, and there's a woman from Australia. I mean, they have a cap. There's no hair showing. They don't have makeup on because they're in the water. This woman's gorgeous.
Right. Because I think we're more attractive than we were back then. I just think it's no. But think
it's a broad
I just said
stroke by you.
Ryan, how old is Ryan Reynolds? Very attractive man,
Probably
right?
in his
What is
40s?
he? 40. Yeah. So if to look at any 48-year-old man outside of like Cary Grant, any 48-year-old man, they're playing grandfathers. They're old.
Reynolds is 47.
I mean, come on. It's just I think it's a fact. It's true. I don't know why it is, but I just think we're more attractive now than we were back then.
I mean, we have better nutrition and we have better medicine.
I think that's probably part of it.
Let's go to Mike in Ridgefield Park. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Mike. How are you? Good to talk to you.
Good to have you talk to us. What's up?
I wanted to present a question to you guys about Juan Soto. Let's assume the Yankees make the playoffs. He has a Carlos Beltran-like run, and the Yankees win the World Series. Everyone's happy, but Soto leaves for free agency to a non-rival. Let's say not the Mets, not the Red Sox. Let's say he goes to San Francisco or somewhere else.
Right.
How is he perceived in Yankees history? You have a pulse on Yankee fans. How would he be perceived if he stays for 1 year, wins, and leaves? And I'm going to hang up. You got a lot of calls. I'm going to let you get to it, and good to talk to you. Bye-bye.
Well, I would say, Mike, that he would be thought of fondly, but there would also be the caveat of what might have been if he stayed here forever. He'd probably have that number up on the wall after 15 years. So, but if you bring a championship to the Yankees, you're going to always be remembered fondly.
Well, especially this next one, Michael, because at least in Yankee land, it's been a while. But it'd be interesting though, because it's not like he'd be doing it by himself. I mean, Judge would be more revered. Cole would probably be more revered if they contributed to the championship. I'm just wondering if there's a comp. Has there been a one and done in New York, win the championship and then gone, and how they're remembered?
Well, Matsui wasn't one and done, but he won a championship and then left as a free agent. Yankees didn't bring him back. Same with Johnny Damon. But no, I can't think of anybody that just did that one run. You think any other sport?
No, I'm just trying to think of that kind of significance.
Anybody in the Rangers in '94?
No, the Rangers had a bunch of mercenaries in '94. When they brought in guys like McTavish and Noonan and Teagan, so they had a bunch of guys that were just quick hits.
But Soto would be like Messier.
But still, you're right. I mean, but still, the guys that you remember are Messier and Richter and Leach and Graves, and they had been there a while and stayed a little while after that. I'm just talking about to be one of the best players on the team for 1 year, win a championship, and then go. Like, how long was Leonard in Toronto?
That might have been it. That might be your best comp.
That's it. So I don't know how is he. Listen, it was the only championship the Raptors have ever won, so I'm sure he's revered there. But from a New York standpoint, I can't think of anybody like one and done.
Like the Knicks in '69 and '73 didn't have it. I don't know. Well, how about the Islanders?
No, the Islanders, no. I mean, they were all about
together for a long time.
Trottier and Smith, and so those were the forever guys, and all the Devils like Stevens and Niedermeyer and Danico and Brodeur, they were there.
How about the Giants?
Forever. No, I mean, no, not to. I mean, Burris wasn't there long, but still, that's Eli Manning's team. You think of Osi Umenyiora, you think of. Like I'm trying to think of people that would be as significant as Juan Soto. Like was Plaxico Burris, and he wasn't one and done, but he wasn't there very long. But he's not to the Juan Soto level. He caught the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl, but he wasn't one and done. And I don't think he was as big as Juan Soto would be to this Yankee team. No, but I mean the '86 Mets. No, they were all.
Now Ray Knight left after, but he had been there.
He had been there for a little while,
yeah.
And he was the World Series MVP, so he wasn't nobody. But God, it would just. But it really, how he would be remembered, Michael, I think, and how as it goes down. Like if he signed for the save money in San Francisco, I think every Yankee fan would hate him.
Great point. If San Francisco just blew everybody out of the water. And he'd have no choice but to take it, then I think he'd be remembered fondly. But if he took the same amount to go somewhere else, I don't know how fondly he'd be thought of.
Yeah, and he disclaimed it by saying not a rival. So obviously, if he signs with the Mets, then I think he would not be revered.
1-800-919-3776. An important aspect of the show coming up. We find out who the point guard is today.
Yes, I won it yesterday, surprisingly, Michael.
You know, I won it the day I did a solo show, too.
Yeah.
So it's 1-1-1. A fan had it on Tuesday. You won it yesterday, although I gave you a strong 22 minutes at the start.
Oh, and I will say, my point guard was in the first 20 minutes.
Wow. What was it? Do you remember?
It was just, I think it was just about the Mets and Ben Lindor and how he's carried them, and he's and then that Alonso now has to pick it up. It was that.
That's
point.
weak.
Well, listen, you got to hear it. You got to be in the moment. But I at least took it as somewhat of a moral victory because you were there when I did it.
You know what? You should hang your hat on that. Brian Hoke, my friend who covers the Yankees for MLB, just accentuated the point that we're making. Did you realize that Steve Martin was younger in Father of the Bride than Ryan Reynolds is now?
Yeah.
But Steve Martin looked old when he was 20.
That is true, but even Parenthood, I think he was like 37. I just think we age differently, and that probably lends to the attractiveness of it.
Although you can be a good-looking older person. I mean, look at Jane Fonda. She's in her 80s. She's really, really good-looking.
Oh, like I said, there's exceptions to every rule, Michael. Elizabeth Taylor was very good-looking deep into her 50s and 60s.
Right.
But for the most part, and you played different roles. You just became older. You played a grandmother, and then you find out that the woman, the mom in The Godfather was like 43 years old.
It's just wrong. We'll come back. We got a lot of stuff to do. Find out who the point guard is. More of your phone calls. We go till 6:30, and without Peter, there's no ENN, so the phone calls will continue then as well. Now we will not be on. We will not be on Yes on TV for the final half hour. That's only going to be a Rayro-only vehicle because they have a very special batting practice show where Meredith does a takeover. And she actually learns to catch, Don. Puts on the catcher's gear.
I saw the stills.
That's going to be today. But, keep the radio on and listen to us or the app or whatever the case may be on Yes and on ESPN New York.
Hey. Rental? Yep. You? Yeah. Your shoe's untied. Oh.
Don't let a boxy suit ruin your night. Read from theblackducks.com.
Switch to Square and join over 4 million businesses worldwide.
Switch to fast setup and even faster checkouts. Switch to making every sale the way you want, and the way they want, too. Switch to one system connecting every tool to every task, even as your business grows. Gain time and peace of mind with tools that bring everything together. Switch to Square today. Visit square.com to get started.
Hey, I'm Ray's procrastination. You know, you want to take care of stuff, especially around the house. And I'm like, nice try, man. But then he started using Thumbtack. And now he's got planning tools to make it easy to get projects done. Even easier than not doing anything at all. Totally harsh, man.
Procrastination doesn't live here. You do. Take care of your home with Thumbtack. Download the app today.
We just shipped our millionth monthly coffee subscription box. We're sending custom thank you gifts to everyone on our team who helped us get there. I had to call Eric at Custom Ink. Custom Ink has been with us from the beginning, and he makes sure that we get everything we need and even reminds us of our own company milestones. This milestone, though, I get to tell him about. He is every bit as excited as we are and knows great quality products we can customize and send for the gifts. Celebrate all your milestones with custom gear. Get started today at customink.com.
Including those with autism, are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work. Why? Outdated stigmas and beliefs. So let us make it easy. This is a job for someone with autism. This is a job for someone with autism. So is this. That job? Also perfect. Businesses value diversity, but sometimes overlook the unique strengths and abilities of the autism community. Introducing WIN, the Workplace Inclusion Now program by Autism Speaks. We bridge the gap and help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring. Yes, these are all jobs for someone with autism. To learn more and lead the way in inclusive hiring, go to autismspeaks.org/win. Yep, that job too.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
Chevy lets you begin every day fully charged, so you can go farther. And so can your money. Tow with confidence. Plus, stay connected with available OnStar technology. For summer adventures, Chevy's got you. Get $5,750 total value on this Silverado LT when you trade in an eligible vehicle. That's 10% below MSRP. See your local Chevy dealer.
You could pick from hundreds of law firms for your mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer case. But would you be confident that you made the best choice? Whites & Luxembourg is the firm that has represented more asbestos disease clients than any other firm in the metropolitan area. With 30 years experience, they have New York's highest recorded asbestos verdicts of all time. The choice is clear, and the stakes could not be higher.
Whites & Luxembourg has our backs.
Call Whites & Luxembourg today.
Call Whites & Luxembourg today at 917-LAWYERS. That's 917-LAWYERS.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay, and how fast you can get started.
At First Tee, we teach kids how to play golf, but that's not our end game. Golf is simply our means to teach life lessons that build inner strength, self-confidence, and resilience.
It's more than a game. It helps them be more independent, more secure. It has given them more confidence, and I think that helps them with everything else.
Come join us at First Tee.
A waterfall made of fire. Goats that defy gravity. A turning point in history.
a palace carved out of clay. The place where we grew wings. A thunderstorm beneath your feet. An eternal torch and an enduring dream. National parks are extraordinary. So is the support you give them.
Jacob, you realize that Don can't help you, right? You realize that.
I can't do a thing for it.
I've realized that. I mean, I think I'm trying to make up for what I did to Don during Drop Madness. I don't think he's ever forgiven me.
Never.
And he won't, so don't try to make up for it.
Right, lean in.
Wow, that's I mean, this must not be a good show today. I mean, I gave you simulation. I gave you simulation that we're living in an alternate world, and you get that's what gets point God. Goodness gracious!
I'm starting to see. When it's a Tom and Jacob vehicle, they like to get the point God out of the way early.
Yeah, first segment, something like that.
So
Week.
you better come within the first 40 minutes of the show, otherwise you're done. What? What does it matter with you lately?
What do you mean? You said it. I didn't say anything. You said it.
Yeah, but you didn't have to take it that way when you knew that's not how I meant it.
How do I know how you meant it?
Well, how I meant it is how I said it. You better come correct early, otherwise forget about it.
That's not what you said.
I said you better come with it.
No, that's not what you said.
What did I say?
You said you better come early if you're going to win.
Well,
in the first 40, something like that. So don't play the innocent, okay?
But that's not what I meant. But now that you repeated it back, well, listen, why I wouldn't want to call out one of my flaws. But really, isn't it it's everybody would like to. Let's move on.
Now let's move on. From August 16th to the 18th, experience the thrill of Fanatics Fest NYC at the Javits Center. It's the first event of its kind, gathering over 100 sports legends and icons in one place. Don't miss their special Knicks panel with Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and their biggest celebrity fans. Now watch legends like Derek Jeter and David Ortiz renew their iconic rivalry and get up close with interactive sports challenges like the 40-yard dash, home run derby, and UFC striking challenge. Explore the biggest trading card show NYC has seen this century, featuring exclusive Topps drops and a stage dedicated to collecting. Whether you're a novice or a seasoned collector, there's something for everyone. Tickets start at just $50 a day. Visit fanaticsfest.com to secure your spot and check out the full lineup. Fanatics Fest NYC isn't just an event, it's the future of sports fandom. Be part of sports history. Fanatics Fest NYC, first ever immersive sports fan festival. Don, you weren't invited to that, right? I wasn't.
No, I was not invited to it.
Peter's been invited.
And they got a hell of a picture on the website. William Nicholas says, how about Mike Torres in 1977? I wouldn't put Torres in the Juan Soto category, but I guess he was a one and done.
Was that the only year he was with the Yankees? I'm not sure of that. It might have been. It might have been. And then he endeared himself even more to Yankee fans by giving up the home run to Bucky Dent while a member of the Red Sox.
And then Mike says Deion Sanders in San Francisco, Rivas with the Patriots. But, Rivas did not have the impact with the Patriots that Juan Soto is having right now with the Yankees. I'm trying to remember. The Deion was still very, very good in San Francisco. But was it just the 1 year?
You know what we have to do, Don? We have to say goodbye to Yes right now.
All right.
BP show coming up. Stay here on the radio.
That's a wrap on the show for today. Coming up next, our coverage of the Yankees and Angels gets underway with a batting practice show takeover with Meredith Marakovitz. For all of us here on the Michael K. Show, this is Chris Sheeran saying have a great night. We'll see you again tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Away makes luggage and bags that